Hello all and welcome, I'm your not so humble Game Master TJ, and this is Dice of Ages presenting CrestVahllen, the Argent Flame, forged in chaos. Say hi, my old little embers.
Hi, little embers.
We have a new guest with us today. This is Matt. Do you want your last name on here or no?
Sure.
Okay, it's Matt Haltmeyer. He'll be subbing in for a character that you don't know about yet, so say hi, Matt.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't really have any announcements for you guys, except to just stay tuned. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Check out Prince of Ages, if you can, on Etsy, our sister shop, where we make a bunch of cool prints of some of the stuff that we use in-game and a bunch of other stuff. We'll be adding a bunch of new listings there for you guys very soon, so check out our shop. Including we'll be doing a lot of new mini resin printing, a lot of new terrains, new buildings. We're all really excited about it. It takes some time to get up and running, so please be patient. But we will be accepting pre-orders and other types of orders sometime soon, hopefully. So stay tuned, follow the shop. I don't really have much else here for us, unless anybody else has any announcements or things that Oh, thank you to our artists at Bubble Fox and Solomonical for our character art, and thank you to all of the composers and artists that we have. You can check them out on diceofages.com/composers if you want to see all of the credentials, permissions, and just all of their other stuff, where you can go check out their cool stuff. That's about it, and last but not least, thank you to Red Sky Phenomenon for our theme song, Tunnel Vision, off the album Sketches. Great, so let's get right into it then. You want to play a game?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if I'm here, you know.
Okay, cool. So let's then get into, hopefully, this long-winded and lengthy, but hopefully doable recap of what happened last time, shall we?
Let's do it.
And we're going to...
Is it going to work this time?
I sure hope so.
Flip a coin.
Are we going to go auctioneer at some point today?
I don't know, so we're going to find out.
We'll see.
All of my D6s.
2 fireballs worth.
The Argent Flame continues their journey to the checkpoint with Zemdak clad in manacles, escorted by the 3 Crystal Brand guards. About halfway to the checkpoint, the group makes it camp, shares a meal, and has a strained discussion regarding the latest news from the boss, as well as more immediate concerns about Security 4 being appointed as head of the blockade at the checkpoint. The party tries to convince the guards of the Zektek's treacherous nature by presenting the best evidence they can muster. Surprisingly, the guards turn out to be moon dancers, members of the secret society that the gang had arranged clandestine communication with previously. The guards agree to help, freeing Zemdak and providing a cover story for their long absence from their stations and Security 4's purview. The group parts ways with the guards and find a smuggler's tunnel, eventually resting within a found cavern and near Duell's hideout. On the next day, the troop emerges from the underground, much to the elation of their traumatized wizard, and adjusts their circadian rhythms to travel at night, increasing chances of survival while trekking through the maw. The group begins to traverse the desert landscape exhausted by its unforgiving nature, and occasionally make camp by combining Cole's magical hut with Trisheni's fabricated sandstone structure. Aided by the constellations, the gang plans a route through the dunes to Babas, deciding to deviate from possible trade routes in order to avoid the chance of unwanted company. After a few days of travel, a field of terrazine is discovered nestled among the dunes, from which is spotted a sample of the more sapphiric strain. Meanwhile, Log instructs Gall to secretly construct prison cells within the bowels of his mind fortress to potentially detain Pinky, should suspicions about Pinky's recently rediscovered ability to talk lead to more distasteful consumptions. Further conversations with the mysterious wolf statue do not lead to new revelations, buffeted only by access denied, limited permissions granted to object of foster program. With the gang now awakened, investigation of the terrazine field determines that both blue and green specimens have been used to spawn the crystalline acreage before samples of the spent and blue variations are collected. As the Argent flame continues their eastward travel towards Babas, the group eventually settles near a rocky outcropping, but are set upon by a massive sandstorm approaching rapidly. Seeking shelter, Cole and Trisheni create the dome and sandstone structure fitted with inventive venting. Their uneasy respite is interrupted by a sandstorm elemental that enters through the odd chimney, overwhelming much of the huddled gang. After a short struggle, Eleazar, quick's thinking, seals the vent with his icy breath weapon, eventually forcing the dervish into a stalemate within the group, with the group causing it to depart. The party then rests. Log checks the secret brig being built in his dreamscape before having an awkward conversation with Pinky about his past brain-eating habits. The troop wakes at sunset to find themselves buried 18 feet beneath the dunes in the aftermath of the sandstorm. Log teleports out to be greeted by a group of ancient undead zombies roaming the area, which Argus then quickly dispatches. Continuing eastward, the gang encounter a quicksand, and some members escape sinking using teleportation magic. After engaging in said teleportation magic that has never been used before, Argus shares a revelation about the power of magic coming from within oneself, not from external forces. After the day's travel, Log enters a strange, suspended animation chamber in his dreams, discovering that he presently, in this state, inhabits an odd biomechanoid body. Numerous damaged tanks and a mysterious pillar with an unintelligible hexagonal slot for some sort of key, perhaps, occupies the vaulted space. Awakening abruptly, Log attempts to remember and write the cryptid well wall-like script he encountered in his dream, but Trisheni cannot decipher it. They press onwards instead, coming across another field of spent terrazine, using their magical and crafty abilities to create various crystal-coated items for the rest of the day. On the evening of the 6th of Achiel, the Argent Flame approach a seemingly odd flat-topped dune and narrowly escapes 3 giant desert worms that converge on them. Now high in the sky lounge, they spot a quiet town nestled in a sandstone caldera below, where the odd flat area was noticed. Welcome back to CrestVahllen. That was a good one. I can't believe that one.
I thought you weren't going to make it there for a few seconds.
Yeah.
I was like fast and slow. There's got to be a better way to do this. All right, cool. So that is where we are now. You guys are up in the Sky Lounge. You had pulled the rope up, so it is currently invisible to all that see before. You see some of the sandstones, kind of sandworms churning and moving about below as the sand moves and is shot up. Some of the bursts and blasts of sand that jet up maybe 100 feet move throughout. These things are massive. The amount of sand that they did displace in the ground is truly gargantuan. And you see this town. And I don't want to say it's as much of a caldera, and it's not like a burrow, but you know me, I like to reference a lot of other nerdy culture, and like movies and games and anime and stuff. So think of how... Shut up. Think of, like, in A New Hope in Star Wars, how the moisture evaporators, they live underground in, like, sandstone, and it goes kind of down. It's kind of like that, but wide out, a big whole thing that goes down. So the flat top that you saw was just no sand. It was just empty space. There was just anything there. As there's a wall that goes down, I would say maybe 40 feet in some places and deeper in other places, as it's not necessarily level on the ground. It perhaps goes down a little deeper, and you, from your current vantage point, I don't think you can see the entirety of this because it's quite large. It does look like there's a community here, a town. There's trees on the edges of these, like, limestone and sandstone walls that reach down into this insular town, as it were to say. There are mud and sandstone and limestone houses of domes and built in, kind of a desert fashion, with those crossbars that come above the of wood that stick out above the openings of windows and open doors without doorways, or doorways without doors, and some do have, some do not. You can see a good portion of it because you're somewhat high up. But in order for you to really get a proper gaze at this, one of you would have to stick your head out and get it like a better perspective, just because of the angle at which you're at. You do see some people moving around. It seems to be perhaps there's commerce happening. It is rather quiet though. I believe we discussed before that sound does go back and forth through this thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with it not having to do that. Meaning that if you were to hide from somebody, even though you're invisible, if you make noise, they can hear you and they know where you are.
That's what a rug's
So-
for.
Yep.
Right, that's what the rug is for.
We've done this before.
Your next thing is to get a loom and craft a soundproof rug. So,
Maybe that's what we can use the spent terrazine for.
Just fabricate one. He'll be
goodness.
I, it's kind of
Spindling
interesting.
thread out of terrazine dust.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So,
Can make
one of the
cloaks
things you notice,
non-distinction,
let me
that way.
just paint a little picture for you here, in addition to what it is you see. The wall that you can see that kind of curves around, not necessarily a uniform fashion, it's kind of jagged here, does dip down to give enough room for the buildings to be built. And the ground does appear to be made with some sort of limestone or sandstone cobblestone. Sometimes it dips down deeper, like as I said. The perimeter of this wall or ledge, cliffside, if you want to say, is lined with a type of palm tree or desert tree, rather thickly, almost as if there's a tree line. It's dense, but it's not wide. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The perimeter is thin with these trees. There are spots where it's thinner,
Like a full-on hedge made out of palm trees.
made out of palm trees or other types of desert trees. Sometimes
Kind of
there's-
create that shade around potentially to
Exactly.
either hide it, prevent the sun.
but none of them are high enough to the point where any of their leaves poke out above
All right.
the cliffside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Question for you.
Sure. There are cactuses and other types of flora is here as well.
I would like to pull out the big map of CrestVahllen that we bought like way back when.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there? Can I look at that
I'm
and
still
kind
working on
of?
that, by the way, but yeah. go
Huh?
ahead. I'm still working on making you an actual physical copy.
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
We've got it. We've got the small version over there.
Yeah.
But looking
Yeah,
at
this is not as detailed, I believe, as the one that you have.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
making you the far. But please continue.
taking a look at that, would I be able to kind of guess potentially what town that is? Like looking at our map and where we potentially come
On
from.
the map, the most notable things that are on the map currently that you can see are, I'm going to say 3 things that are marked on this map. Most of the Maw is not necessarily charted because why would you? It's a wasteland. There's not, like, there are other villages, spotted throughout in towns, spotted throughout that are outliers that live there, but nothing that's prominent enough that it would be noted on a map such as this. This is a highly detailed map, but the big
But it's also a really big map.
there are 4 towns that I would say that are within the limits of the Maw, as far as you understand them proper, that are noted on this map. There's Brackstar, which is the port town that's on the eastern mountainside of the eastern coast of CrestVahllen, like bordering where the not the Udixpass and not the Sea of Elysium, but the Boundless Thalasia on the east side of the. So Brackstar sits there as a port town between the Maw and the Twin Isles. There is Babas, which is the capital, the jewel of the dunes, within, kind of a central location of the Maw. Just very, very slightly north of it, there is a marking for Karasova, which is another town. I believe, Trisheni, we spoke about what you may know of Karasova.
Right, how the rich are there. They have some nice vineyards. It's some of the best.
Yeah, it's the
Wine.
we did talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, just
It's
don't know the details
opulence
about it.
incarnate there. And they have enough money to just hire people to protect them rather than have a dome have to protect them. So the curse of the wandering isn't something, curse, that's what people call it. The curse of the wandering isn't something that they really worry about too much. And the other one is Fort Yeda. Fort Yeda is near the southern border between the Dakota Veldt and the Maw itself. So we're talking about where the
That's where we were originally.
plains of
Yeah, that was
Hest-
our original
Yeah.
like
between the
goal.
plains of Hest and the Rubicon Plateau is the Dakota Veldt, which is kind of savanna-like biome. North of the Dakota Veldt, what separates the geographical border between the Dakota Veldt that actually borders what would be the end of the Maw is the Torrid Torrent. It is a river that travels from the mountain range of the Razorfang mountain range, the eastern that travels from west to east from the mountain range through the Rubicon Plateau, I believe through, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up, through the Dead Run Gorge that Log is quite familiar with. But let me just double check to make sure I have. That is the correct thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the big map
yes.
over here.
Yep. Yeah. So the Torrid Torrent is a natural geographic boundary, and that eventually empties into. Well, it stops at a Hawi Mare, which is kind of like a lake. It's a mare, and then travels through Dead Run Gorge, which is so it's like the Grand Canyon has carved that river has carved the Grand Canyon over millions and millions of years, or whatever. The Torrid Torrent has carved Dead Run Gorge out of the Rubicon Plateau over somewhere between that. Now, Fort Yeda is just north of the Torrid Torrent, kind of like the fort that is a little bit further into the Maw, but like the first probably notable structure that you may see, unless there are other settlements about. It is as far as actually, go ahead and roll a history check for me. As somebody who's well traveled and probably has learned a lot about the world. Maybe not.
No, that wasn't good. 4.
4. It says Fort Yeda. Probably a fort.
Yeah.
Do you want to as well?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You look like you want to.
I feel like Trisheni would have been looking at maps for a very long time. 21.
21. You're familiar with what Fort Yeda is. It is a very, very old fort that's been maintained since ancient times. As far as it's been there since anybody can remember. It's Mauritian architecture.
Does it have a tower?
It has yes. It even shows on the map that it has a needle-like, cone-like tower.
Wow.
Upon
Two potential cities with big old towers in them.
Fort Yeda is not a
That are-
city. It is
that-
technically
that
a
are
military
Mauritian.
installation.
Sorry.
no, it's okay.
No, I'm correcting myself. Sorry. 2 military installation type
Yeah,
towns.
I would say this is what Trisheni would know, that Fort Yeda is a fort. It's exactly that. It's a fort that has, not dissimilar from Karadim, a fort that has become something a little bit more than that now that war is not really a thing as much anymore. Thinking about it, and with such a high role in history, it makes sense that something there would have been built as a precaution in case the ancient elves ever made it to flank around the Razorfang to try to then enter the Maw. That would have been the first thing they would have been met with, as far as something. It probably has its own source of naturally occurring water, like an oasis or something. So forces would have had to have stopped somewhere, because they would not have survived the trek through the Maw through mundane means. So they would have had to try to take over the fort, which would have forced them to fight the fort. But it doesn't look. But as far as you know, you are not aware of any times that actually saw any action or combat. Granted, that wasn't your expertise. That's just what you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the 4 things that you see marked on this map. As far as this town is concerned, if you're trying to give yourself here, I'll throw this up here just to kind of give you an idea as to
Yes, please.
where you think you may be. Sorry, I can't see it unless I throw it up here, but I will then toss it over to you in a moment. I will put a marker on it for you. How about that? That makes sense?
Sweet.
We'll do a little. Give me a paintbrush. Do I have a paintbrush? Markup. Here we go.
The first one you said, Brackstar.
Rackstar.
Brackstar. yes.
Brackstar.
That's essentially at the end of the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them.
Um,
The north.
Yes. So that is a good question. You guys haven't really asked too much about the bridge itself.
I'm just trying to get an idea of where.
Sure. It just makes a good question because so this is about anywhere in that area is where you could be. I can't make it any bigger than that
Yeah.
for some reason. But anywhere in that area is where you could be.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your best guess. You've been traveling east. You've tried to use the stars for navigation. You've been moving throughout. You came up from the underground tunnel. You think you may have diverted south a little bit more than trying to make a direct path, which makes sense. It could be anywhere there, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to the scale, could be 100 miles in diameter.
Right.
Yeah.
So the maw is very vast and filled. The night is dark and full of dangers. The maw is vast and full of undead. So
Somewhere in there.
full, but so that's where you believe you may be. It's your best guess. With that history check and with what it is you got, everything. That's what you think.
I think we're around here in the mall. Just point at a random spot on there.
It is somewhere
makes
between
sense.
Babas and the mountain range.
Yeah.
so-
I pick like a quadrant, like about halfway between Babas and like Steer Crag's
Yeah.
exit. And just go. We're probably about here.
We've been traveling for this thing. We've got to be between these two spots. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been about there since we left.
Yeah. You have been like about in that position since you started. Yeah. So like, that makes sense. Yeah. But there's nothing on the map that marks this location.
Can you see anything from Twig that's anything else around here? Like his perspective?
I'll warg into Twig and try and, as it's zooming in, see.
Can you control that? Like,
Landmarks
can you zoom out?
And what about like?
What's a zoom?
Well, when it gets bigger, right?
Right.
Or when it changes. Can you do the opposite of that and like
Go backwards.
Like you're holding a piece of paper here, log, and then you're like bringing it right to your face. That kind of thing.
I'll try. So I try and zoom in and zoom out.
Oh, with
trying to
your
control it.
with your vision?
Yeah.
Oh,
Through
okay.
Twig.
I understand what it is you're trying to do.
Otherwise, maybe we can just like send Twig off, and then if
No,
we
what?
lose contact, we know we lost him.
Great. So you can warg into it, and you don't have control. At least you haven't figured out how to, and you don't seem to have control over how fast it zoom in, where does it zoom in, and there's no like key or legend in the corner that tells you how big everything is. But then it boots up, and you see the marble before it quickly screen. You do get a bit of an orbital look as to what this looks like. It seems the greatest magnification it has is a little bit more than the entire town is not encapsulated in what it is. It looks, and you don't see you guys at all because you're in a thing. But somehow, even though you're in a different dimensional pocket space,
It knows where you are.
it knows where you are.
That's not creepy.
It goes to like the last known location that it had. Kind of.
Granted, we talked about
Or
how
Apple Air tagged.
Right.
we had talked about the veil between
Cross-dimensional Apple Air tag.
yeah
We got to turn off your
Apple.
tracking app.
pineapple. So
Pear
we had talked
sky
about
tag.
how the veil between the Sky Lounge and is constantly open. Meaning that you are like in both spaces technically, or like it's like folding space, putting a hole in it and keeping that hole there. So the threshold can freely pass through. Stuff can freely pass through. Technically, how the spell works is weird, but I mean, if sound can pass through, things are wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, weird, but it's not something that is closed. It's not something that is cut off. So you are in a space that's technically in the space of another thing. So that might be part of it. You don't know. But it doesn't see you, but you do see a good portion of the city, but it does zoom in to the point where you would be able to possibly see yourself. maybe about this big in your vision, which is pretty damn close. And it's really, really, really good like resolution. So it zooms in a little too much. However, from what you can see, I would say roll a perception check. Just humor me.
I'm exhausted, so this is at disadvantage.
Yeah, because you're trying to like concentrate on this. This is kind of your mind's eye too. Yeah, just say perception. It'll be fine. We'll figure something else out if this doesn't work.
It's still gonna be a 15 though. Make sure I don't have anything on perception.
15, I would say-
might have something on perception.
Sure.
I don't have anything on perception.
Okay. I would say from what you can catch while it's zooming, like pew, 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 pew. It's like enhanced, but it's happening like pew, 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 pew. Like all those Internet Explorer windows going brrrr and just popping up, but they're maximizing in front of each other. So
Just imagining old pop-up windows.
you get the from what you can see more of the city this way or town this way. It is larger than what you're able to see. I would say what you can see from this area and what you could catch from it zooming in while it was moving fast is that there appears to be some sort of, I don't want to say monument, but larger, maybe mansion-esque, estate-esque type of building on the far side of it. It is where like maybe the caldera or this borough or whatever it may be. I don't really have a proper term for it. Valley? I don't really have a proper, if you guys come up with a better one.
Desert valleys are an actual
Crater.
thing.
Yeah.
We got them in the lower part of the state.
Yeah, it's just more like oblong circular than it is like run and straight. Yeah. Almost as like it was maybe carved out.
Kind of like those depressions down in like Central America and stuff like that, where there are these big caves that kind of go.
Yeah, like reverse mesas.
Yeah.
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 I would say it's like that. You've been able to see like this larger building that appears in the deeper recesses of one of the areas that you caught a glimpse of that is on the far side. You are on one side of it. It's on the far side of it. It makes sense that you wouldn't be able to see it from where you currently are from the town is a decent size. I would say maybe. I don't like getting into distance and numbers because it's not something I'm super good at when it comes to distance. And I had never studied city planning. So, but I would say it's a sizable town. I would say it's bigger than a village. It's a sizable town. There's a good population as far as you can tell. That's what would inhabit something like this. Is there something particular you're looking for?
Well, I want to be able to see if I can then like back up.
You want to see
like,
if you can pull
zoom
it out?
and like get like a grander view.
You want to try to exert your will upon what it is that you are warging into.
It's my familiar.
It is.
It's like
It is more than 100 feet away from you.
Tweg's not.
Correct.
And this is me warging into Tweg.
Technically, yes, because he doesn't have his own sensory perceptions that you know of.
So using his.
I would. I'm going to leave it to the dice because of how
communication with this thing.
wonky this is, and because we've established just how weird and indirect and wonky this is. I'll leave it to a dice roll. We're going to do the same thing that we do when you go to sleep. We're going to do a luck check. Okay.
I'm exhausted, so is this a disadvantage luck check?
It's not an ability check,
Okay.
so I don't think so. I think this is just has to do with pure chance, and your attempt to try to do this.
6.
6. You try. The rest of you look at Log. It looks like he's like.
Man, he's gonna
He looks a little constipated, maybe. Log, show me the face that you make.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't seem that you're able to change it. You just make a weird face.
After I realize I can't change it, I'll org out and
Was there anything you were looking for in particular or trying to notice in particular?
landmarks to be like to look at the map and be like, oh, we're here.
As is the nature of the maw itself, everything looks the same.
Well, that's
in
why I was
the
hoping
desert.
to zoom
Yeah.
out. It would require
I
zooming
would
out.
say
so.
I don't even think that that you would have been able to catch a glimpse of where Babas was because of how fast it was zooming in. You were lucky to have caught the estate on the other side. This is how it moves, and it might have skipped it in a type of resolution. bunch of stuff. As far as where you think it may started to zoom in, Cole seems, more or less in the right place. It's as far as precise location, it's going to be very difficult to determine that.
So yeah, so I'll warg out and there's some kind of big like fucking thing that way.
Like what type of thing?
Like it was like a structure, I can tell if it was like a fort or a monument or like some big fucking house.
Okay.
Just like, no, but it was over that way.
As long as it's not another one of those worms, I think we're okay.
No, I don't think it was a
Worms
worm.
still churning below us. I mean, I think we have an hour.
Nonsense here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bugbears in your area.
It appears that it's hard to discern numbers, but it appears there's something journeying below you still.
Maybe not all three still, but like something is still there.
Perhaps. Yeah. You guys haven't been up here for very long. One of the things that Trisheni, is that seeing as you had a little bit more experience intimately with the purple worms, the Razorfang worms, you have the feeling and have heard the tales that the sandworms the desert worms are not only bigger, but smarter.
Okay.
So there are tales of them waiting, knowing they have somebody trapped for days, weeks, waiting until they perish from dehydration and food and then moving on.
I mean, if we want to, I'm still thinking about it. Both, you guys can still fly. If you want to take us, two of you can still fly. So I think Argus and Log, because you were having a hard time climbing up the rope. If you want to take us down to the town, because those worms are going to hang out for a while. And then that way we're not causing tremors on the sand. They can't just, gobble us.
Do they not see what's in the air?
I mean, I don't know very many people that know how to do that sort of like flying type spell, but
And if it was common, you'd think everybody in the mall would be like flying everywhere.
right.
Because
So,
then you don't have to deal with the curse of the wandering either.
exactly, and just
Well,
take
well,
a
walking on sand.
yeah. So I don't know.
I bet you the breeze is nice.
If you want me to test the theory, I mean, Shakar, I know I just got you back, buddy, but do you want to go be bait?
I mean, we can also make people invisible too. So
Yeah.
But I don't know if...
Well, I don't know if did we see the worms? We saw them jump out, right?
Yes.
Did they have eyes?
Go ahead and roll perception check.
I'm assuming even though it's sand and not rock, like the vibrations, the sound of our movement is more important.
it's like when you hear somebody walking on the stairs above
12.
you. Log.
You didn't see any.
but if we're flying and invisible is what I'm saying.
All right. But then
If they can't see anyway, it all depends. I
Both
don't know
are
how they
concentration
see.
spells.
There's more than one people.
Yeah, but only she casts fly.
yeah.
Right.
That was just
the
I can.
the people who can
my
cast
benevolent
fly
reminder.
You know what?
invisibility are
We can
different.
try. Right. Who do you want me to take down?
I can make Conk levitate too, so I can take care of myself and maybe one other person
Okay.
that he can hold while we fly.
Okay.
But you can only go down and up, right? You can't only go over to the city.
I can run a little faster for a second. That's about all I can do.
I'll need somebody that can like gust to push us along.
There's one of the flyers. We'll just push you along.
You need to tie a rope to me and try to have me like fly as best as I can. I'm not that big.
That was a good call. Forgot about that.
I mean,
I don't know who I can take down. I'm not that big.
No, you're just fucking heavy.
Right, but if I'm flying, that doesn't matter.
If we hold, well, it's risky. We could.
Who-
A couple people could go in the box.
Who's flying? Log is, and you are.
What if we use the one like magical rope to tie a few of us to you too? While
The
you're
magical
flying?
rope
That
is
could-
anchoring the hole right now.
No.
No.
Different
We
approach.
used that the other time, not this time. Okay.
Right.
Well, and because I'm twice exhausted,
It is possible
my
to do
flight
that
speed.
Yeah.
because it does say any rope if you want to.
That's a good question.
To use that.
Because I'm the one. I
Just
don't
be aware
We
that
wouldn't
that
have
will be
used
occupied
fly, yeah.
being a component of that spell. Go ahead.
Well, so because I have 2 exhaustion points, is my fly speed reduced?
know. But I'm concentrating on it.
All of your speed is halved. So
Even
yes.
though I'm the one.
You're concentrating on the spell.
Yeah.
But he's the one who still has to fly.
It's still better than
Still
trying to
affects
climb
you,
up a
yeah.
rope, though.
Oh, it's like 60 feet instead
It's
of
60 feet.
Right, so I'm just moving normal speed instead of.
I could take
Yeah.
Cole.
All right.
You're light enough.
Well, so could I levitate Conk and then us two ride on him and you pull us along?
I don't think I'm that. I don't know how the fly
While this
spell
conversation is
strength
taking
going on.
place, you hear the. I don't want to say.
This don't move. It's here.
It's kind of like a dog whistle. It's very
Dogs.
quiet.
Not much, but
The sound of what you recognize is there's a sandworm nearby. You've seen like a signals of desert worms nearby, as like it's kind of alerts the town, like on some sort of.
constitution's pretty good.
It's very very light. That just it's tries not to bug too many people, but you recognize that's what it is. If you happen to be, you can be wherever you like right now, but if you happen to be outside, you could very well possibly notice the jet of sand coming from one of the western locations of the town.
Okay. Well, I'd probably be outside on like a balcony or something like that.
Sure.
Probably just
Sitting,
hanging out.
twiddling, yeah.
Yeah. Playing the flute, and when I hear that twinge or whatever, I'll stop to see if I can locate the sand spout from where I am.
Yeah, you take a moment. There's another, and you do see that it appears to be almost like true west border of the town, not very far from the walls. Usually, they do not venture this close. They don't bug you guys that much at all. It's usually much farther out. So this is a little close for comfort, and perhaps more than one. That's what you see.
Yeah, looking out, if the town isn't stirring, then I'm just gonna hang out where I am. I mean,
Yeah.
if there isn't,
There's a couple people that move to do what it is
Whatever
that
they
they
do,
know.
yeah.
They take precautionary measures. You see a couple people mobilizing to move in that direction. You see a few people transporting some sort of metal plate to reinforce the walls should it be necessary. That is
Thinking we could use like
par for the course. Usually it's not needed. It's just put up there just in case. Because it's still limestone and sandstone.
yeah. After a little bit of watching that, I'll just basically go back to
Okay.
twiddling the
minor,
flute.
You got it.
illusion to create sound on the sand too.
Cole, you notice while you're having this conversation, because you have high passive perception,
Yeah.
is that you do see what looks like some individuals. I don't want to say clad in armor, but just looking just a little bit more uniform-esque. Like 4 of them transporting that kind of, that corrugated spiral construction metal, like sheet metal.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridged.
Yep.
I think it's kind of like a piece of shanty
Yeah.
metal. It's kind of like that. You see them carrying something like that. And moving closer to the wall near where you guys are and trying to like prop it up, and then see another couple people come and bring another one, and then the other one goes back, and then it looks like they're just kind of like putting some metal near the area where these worms seem to be moving around. None of them seem to be noticing anything about you guys, but they are moving. They don't look. Actually, go ahead and roll an insight check for me.
Okay. All right. That's a good roll.
So the target can move against a fixed object
24.
as if it were
24. They don't look.
So he.
They look like they're doing their job, what they've been asked to do.
Yeah.
I just mean like force-wise, right? Like
They don't look
Yeah, but he's been
scared.
pulling me.
They don't look
I don't know if I have enough
like
attention.
terrified,
strength.
like you guys often are when you encounter worms.
Yeah.
That's not worried.
They look like
I have, like,
this is what we're supposed to do, and they're doing it.
Right.
And
That's my worry.
they don't look super worried either. It's kind of the vibe you're getting from them. They're just going through the motions.
Business as usual kind of thing, a little bit.
I mean, that's hard to tell.
Okay.
I'd say as far as business as usual, because you don't have a metric.
Right, yeah, I don't know,
a
but-
relative thing to compare it to. But I would say they don't.
They're not in a hurry. They're not.
They're not scared. They're not.
As far as determining whether they're surprised or not, that's really difficult. But they don't look scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't look like this is. They don't
They're
look
not
like they're
freaking
in
out.
crisis mode. That makes
Magical
sense.
physics question.
Sure. Yeah, hit me. Let's go.
Levitate essentially makes the thing weightless.
Weightless.
Yes. So pulling from side to side, it says you can move
Something
as if
about
you
it
were
if you
climbing.
like will yourself to move 5 feet or something like
No,
that.
you can't. You can only move against other objects.
You
side
need
to
leverage.
side. You can move up and down freely with the spell.
Yeah.
But side to side you can't.
Right.
So if you were flying and tethered to us levitating,
Oh, it'd be like moving a hover
how much
stone with
how
a
much
person.
force like would he be able to fly hard enough forward?
Oh, absolutely.
drag us?
You technically in 0G.
That's what I
Okay.
was
So
thinking.
I would apply the same physics of depending on the mass of the object,
Mm-hmm.
you are in 0 gravity, but you still would need enough force per mass to move such a
And
big
then
thing.
with
You might need
conchs,
a running start kind of thing.
ejections.
Not necessarily running start as much as you need thrust and force and movement. You don't need velocity, you need movement, and even the smallest amount of movement will move a absolutely massive object,
Yes.
but very, very slowly and and it takes a long time to move it. Where you understand.
Yes.
I'm not gonna get into the.
Running hands behind you.
I was trying to.
We get into the whole thing about whether fire spells can provide propulsion, and
I was just wondering if that was even like a viable plan.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. When you are flying, you create.
I don't
want to
just like drag him down into the sand because it didn't work.
if it helps. I like to think about it this way. I watched this. I don't know if you guys have watched the animated version of this written graphic novel called Invincible. They actually explain how like superhero physics of flying works. You can create your own leverage upon like air, upon anything. You don't need leverage against an object to use with your kinetic body. You can create leverage spontaneously.
It's also
So
how they
it's
explain why people don't die when they catch them.
yeah. So it's fly works like that. It allows you to create leverage against a very non-dense material like air, allowing you to move and float and such as that. Having that, you get the effect of flight. So someone who's levitating, who's essentially has no leverage and can only affect their buoyancy within the air. Is entirely affected by somebody else who can create their own leverage. Yeah. You're in 0G.
It's the equivalency of being in a diving bell versus being in like a submarine.
Yeah. Imagine you are a submarine, but air is your water.
Yeah.
That's what levitate does, and you don't have a propeller.
So, Conch can probably carry one other person besides me, but that leaves
How are we getting Eleazar down?
Eleazar and whoever the leftover person is.
I mean, I have my quick movement spell, but I don't know
I'm
if that's going
assuming
to be able
if
to
anybody's
get
got
away.
to walk across the sand, Trisheni's the best person to do it because
Yeah.
she knows how to. But
Well,
The worms.
what if we try? Remember when
she's
we were
also the
dealing
fastest.
Yeah.
with the those blind creatures and the brain dogs that one time, and I sent off the sound to get them to chase after it to give us some time.
Distraction?
Could we potentially do that on the sand to get like the worms to go off and chase that sound, and then we run?
We could try, but they are pretty smart.
But it's only 30. I can only use it 30 feet away. We're 40 feet in the air.
60.
60 feet in the air.
I know, it was a long rope. It was.
This is why I flew. I know. I don't know how.
I know.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to what height we were at as I was running from the man-eating worms.
I'm just saying. That's too far.
I know, that's the same for me. I mean, I can always, create the big worm image again, but that doesn't create the sound the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know how much an image matters. I don't know if they see.
I mean, without your, fancy earthquake thing, it didn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered much in the city, so I'm pretty sure it wouldn't matter much here.
I mean, are you afraid to make a return trip back up for
mean-
more folks?
I can always try to climb down and do it too.
I'm just saying I'm small. So I can't.
I know. I need to cut
I
back
can
on the
always-
baklava. I get it.
But
Kidding.
What if we had
Yours
him
still
fly
stays
down and
there.
do it, and then we can take off from there with him if they chase off after.
Yeah.
I can launch something heavy, not too heavy, but like
cast catapult.
Right.
That will give
as
you.
far as possible.
Oh
away.
my goodness! You could tie something, catapult it, and that could be your proportion with your levitate.
I mean,
work.
5 pounds of momentum versus.
it's not the
It's
best
still-
idea, but what if you like catapulted
But that's-
the blue terrazine and got them to chase after that, and then we got massive blue terrazine worms?
No, thank you. I don't want to deal with that.
I'm just throwing it out there, you know.
That'd be bad.
I'm sorry I got rid of your zombie trap idea last time. I'm trying to like make it better.
You know what? Should we sacrifice one of the bugs?
But how much power that blue terrazine has is probably not going to consume the whole worm, and then what happens?
Doesn't matter.
Right.
How many bugs we have?
It distracts it long enough for us to get out of this.
Well, and depending on where we hit it, you know, maybe if we get it in the head, it'll at least leave us alone.
Or piss it off.
No, we get it to eat the thing.
I mean, but what if the only thing that changes is its tongue? I mean, it can still eat us at that
We're
point.
not going to be able to do it until we see it, and so it's going to be jumping out to try to eat one of us for you to throw something at his face.
Yeah.
No. I throw it. It goes and chases whatever hit the sand, eats it, and then gets mad because it's turning into
Until it
crazy.
can sense that some tiny thing it doesn't want.
I know they're smarter, but how smart are they?
Who knows?
I mean, they haven't taken any sort of IQ tests lately. It's a little hard to get the worm to do that, but
How much longer do we have? Because I think we need to make a plan soon.
yeah, we
I
need.
think we just try it. Who wants to fly down with me?
Well, I'm already half fly, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be slow though.
What's now?
I mean, I'm gonna be moving slow.
Oh, right.
The fact that Log understood
He
your
got my
second
joke.
meaning of that is surprising to me.
That's why I didn't want him towing us.
Yeah.
He's got.
I should not be towing.
On his own. Another potential problem is what if they don't let us in?
Mission.
I mean, they're.
Yeah.
From what I can see, they're putting. You guys see
Okay.
them putting up the steel over there? Like,
Are you-
Argus, you
are
can
you
see
still
that,
visible?
right?
Yeah.
no, I'm just machete now.
Okay,
Mirror image.
but you're not invisible right now. Nobody's
No.
invisible right now.
No, we were throwing that out there as an idea, but we never actually.
We just
Visible
have
because
fly
we're in
cast
the
on.
lounge, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just
still
trying to
visible.
figure out ways to avoid the. Trying and thinking about invisibility.
we've got to do it
avoid the
before
worms.
the thing ends because you guys only have an hour, right?
Right, and if the thing like drops,
how long
then they're gonna find us.
I think it's an hour. I think.
How long's fly?
That's 10 minutes,
Yeah,
or
I think we
hold
gotta
on.
get moving.
Let me double
Yeah.
check. Let me double check. 'Cause I feel like
If it's 1 minute, we're screwed.
right, up to 10 minutes. We're
Okay.
we're okay.
That does mean we gotta get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do good.
There's only one way to do it. Who's coming down? I think I take Cole so he can try to explain things to people.
Yeah.
In case we get stuck somewhere.
Worst case scenario, I can cast another, a fly spell, or I can.
And then make me fall out of the air? Sounds like a
No,
great
no, no,
idea.
no, no. How about Shakara will come down with you? I can walk into him. I can see you guys make it down safely, and then
I mean,
And then
would
I can
drop
come
you
down.
off and go back up.
yeah. I mean,
I guess in the trees, where would we want to go?
I mean that's kind of.
they don't look scared, but maybe near where they're putting up the sheets of metal. Maybe not right on top of them, because, stupid thing to just appear in front of guards. Potentially.
First time.
Yeah. How well has that worked for us in the past,
I don't know.
Oh, we'll be fine this
Mister
time. Like,
Mister
I
Diggy
will-
Diggy Hole?
I will not speak this time.
Oh,
How about that?
I mean, we got the ball gag. We can
If I
always
start
make
to
sure
say
you
anything,
can't.
I give you guys permission to smack me.
okay,
Log, just be ready to smack him.
I'm always ready.
All right.
yeah, near the palm tree line. And I think that makes sense, right? Most people come in.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go because it's gonna take me a while. So
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Are you going to take anyone with you?
You could.
ooh,
Take Cole.
he is a Twinkie fuck.
Or Eleazar. Because he is.
He's the non-Twinkie fuck.
Yeah. You two are at least the
Eliezer
same height.
Might be able to piggyback on Conk.
Okay.
I mean,
It's a really funny
I'm already
picture.
exhausted. I don't know how well that would work with Eleazar.
You can always try in here.
Yeah.
He has some practice with writing things.
Doc, I know you can do it. You are, you may be slow, but you are not bad.
How does Eliezer think about
Is that
writing?
inspiration?
Yes.
Yes, I am log.
Definitely inspiration.
Versus
See
Conk.
Eliezer going like, it wouldn't be my first time writing something big. I trust you.
All right, hop on.
I mean, I'm bigger than you, so I mean, how am I?
I mean,
you're
I'm
taller, but
taller, but like you're,
yeah, but
like, but I'm the one flying, so just
how about I just
hold on.
Piggyback.
piggyback on you?
Like,
Like jumps on you, you feel like 400 pounds, like pull you back, and you fall backwards. Like, he's like, okay, yeah, we have to figure out a better way to do this. Maybe if you like
Lay down.
float, and then I jump on top of you,
Just like you're dancing on a bar, man.
I'll surf you,
All right, we'll try that.
or and then grab on if I need to.
Okay. Well,
Or ride him like a
You
magic
float
carpet.
in the sky lounge, and he like
Or you can
tries
always
to
like
mount you like a mountain combatant. And he's like sitting on your butt. And he's like,
This will work.
yeah.
we're not doing that again. And I'll just go out.
Already closed it.
And I will
Nobody
levitate Conk. Climb on him. Cole, you coming?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay.
Tie a rope around him and
Tie a rope around me.
I pull out my rope and like tie myself to Conk.
So are you tying it around me? Or what's the
Yeah.
plan here?
like loop around your waist and around Conk's little saddle horn.
Okay. You gonna cast levitate?
I did. Yep.
All right. I'm gonna start telling them. Like
Okay.
a
Wait,
ranger.
who's got Trisheni?
So
She's
Log is-
still staying there.
Log is flying
Yep.
with Eleazar on top of him. Who is levitating?
Conk is
Conk is levitating.
with me on his shoulders and
You on his shoulders and
He's
carrying
holding
Cole.
Yep.
While
Argus.
Argus is
Tows us.
flying and towing you.
Yes.
Yes.
With a
Okay.
tender, or are you pushing?
Shakar was
No,
going
with
to go
the
with
rope.
him too.
And you guys are all visible, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like
Shakar's
another
with
reindeer.
him.
You have a very, very heavy Drakosh with a lot of heavy armor on top of you. You are moving half of what you would normally be moving.
I
So
can
that's
get the
half
three
of
of us
half
if we
because
need
you're
to for
exhausted. So
visibility.
you're moving at 15 speed. You are just this tiny little dirigible moving through the air. It's very Don Quixote looking, I have to say.
We could have Trisheni like be on your shoulders too.
But in the air, Conk is in the same boat.
She could try to
Carrying
mount me.
Cole
Like, that
has
would be
you on
really
top
hard.
of them, same boat, especially being moved and towed by an individual. Everybody's moving at the very least half of their speed.
Yeah.
And Trisheni is
We
just
talk-
staying up here, right? Because if she leaves, it goes away, or no.
It doesn't go away.
Okay.
We just only had a way to move so many people.
Yeah.
And once their fly is no longer needed, she can just
She
fly
can cast
herself.
fly on herself and come and find
Okay,
it.
cool.
Or
So-
one
Yeah,
of
so that's
them,
why Shakar's going with him. So, that
So
she
you guys
can
are prepping all
watch.
of this inside of the lounge.
or one of them can go get her.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I believe I'm not sure if I exactly established just how far away from the edge of this thing, but I think it was somewhere like no more than 100 feet or something like that.
I don't think you established it, but yeah, it's,
Something
If
like-
I can kind of see that it's corrugated like sheet metal type thing, it's got to be fairly.
So
I
even
don't, I
moving
don't
at
want to like be
quarter
like it's not
speed.
like it's not
No.
corrugated, because corrugated means there's 2 layers and then it has the
yeah,
squiggle
no, I
between.
know what you mean, but
Just has the squiggle bit. It kind of looks like that sheet metal, but it's more of a medieval style that sheet metal.
it's more like somebody put like
not
sheet
perfectly
metal
flat.
across like an edge and just like kept hitting it to like create those
Take us
ridges.
like
Yeah,
a minute to get there.
Big
Yeah.
old piece of scrap
yeah.
wall. Go ahead.
30 seconds and like 45 seconds.
To
To
move.
get-
To
yeah,
move, yeah.
there.
And I assume all of these spells and stuff and concentrations last far longer
Yes.
than that. Levitation lasts
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Fly lasts 10 minutes.
minutes.
Yep.
You guys are fine.
Yep.
Is there I'll say that you guys can all prep this here. This is not comfortable.
No.
This is not ideal. You guys definitely take a moment to get used to it. As I'm sorry, were you pushing or towing?
Towing.
You just with the rope.
I'm a magic
Conk's just
reindeer.
holding onto a rope.
No, I've got it tied around his little saddle horn thing.
You have a brain
Okay,
hands
cool.
going as you're.
So like
He's like dragging by the
yeah. So his face
this
down
and-
because
yeah,
he's being
you're gonna
pulled
have
by his saddle horn.
Listen a second, or we can
Yeah.
get you.
Okay.
So he's at this like 45-degree angle, just kind of like Harrier jet moving forward.
The lowest possible
helicopter.
speed.
Okay.
So
Running in the air.
whenever you guys are ready,
I'm just imagining like Zemdak sitting on Konk's shoulder and like half his ass is like sitting on Cole's shoulder too. Cole's like,
he's Kawasaki.
Konk's like hugging you, so you're like dangling out over.
oh,
the
he's
sand.
baby Bjorning me. I love it.
Bum, 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 bum,
It seems
bum.
like that would be more comfortable for you than me, but it's cool.
All right. So this very odd spectacle. You guys can prep all this. So you guys want to exit?
Yep.
So who's going out
Krishnani, are
first?
you
What
all
group
right?
is going out
Me and
first?
left?
Well, so because it's
I'll
going to take
take
us
the
longer,
second
I'm
trip.
going out.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll be
where
fine.
do you wanna
Worst case
go?
scenario, I'll cast on myself.
We
Right.
said
I
towards
figured,
the
like,
palm
Argus could
trees.
come back
Yeah,
and get
we
you
said.
Yeah.
or
That
something.
sounds good.
I'm sorry. Where do you want to go?
We said we're going towards the palm trees, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the civilization.
The palm trees are along the entire perimeter of this whole.
So you have to go down over the wall.
Well, yeah, we're.
You are
Yes.
far above the wall. You are
Right.
60 feet above where the dunes end, which
The
is
palm
that
trees are
much.
down in the caldera, so we have to
Yes.
go down to get to the palm trees.
Yeah,
if that's
so
where you
we're-
want to go.
Yeah, that's.
Or we could land right on the top of the rim.
Granted, there are people gathering in that area that
Right.
are like currently putting up metal there. It's gonna be really hard to be if you're trying to do
no,
this
no.
stealthily or unspotted.
We are not.
We're not.
Okay.
Because I don't know how we're
This
gonna
is why I machinied myself before we left.
Okay. So there's a flying machine
Yes.
with a Eleazar on top, but Eleazar's saddleback horse stance is much larger than Machete's waist. So it looks like he's just purposely man-spreading while on top of Machete's butt,
Yes.
which is a very odd visual that you notice as this individual, as some just out of nowhere, just UFO style, something just this flat Maitan with a
Lizard
kobold lizard-esque individual clad in armor atop of it just goes descends from out of nowhere
Love the Jets.
and starts descending into the perimeter of the town.
I really need fan art of this. I need to see the visual.
And
of
right
this.
after them, a dwarf comes out of the same nowhere
Right.
Yeah.
with a rope tethered to him.
Followed
Running in
by
there.
Yeah.
Directly
this.
pulls
Followed-
out a construct with a human hanging from its arms and a gnome riding its shoulders.
I stopped playing my flute. And I just kind of watched them descend into the.
You pull out some popcorn and be like, "This is."
Yeah, I'm just. Well, I mean, they're way over there. I got,
Yeah, it's like that thing where you had like very dramatic like tiffs between your neighbors. I don't know about you, but growing up, like there would be some things between some neighbors. And I'd just sit on the stoop and eat some popcorn.
Yeah,
and just
that's pretty
watch
much
it.
what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Watch the drama.
Yeah.
It's reality TV without the cable.
Yeah,
subscription.
right. Yeah, it was 90s reality TV. You know, before.
Not directly at the people putting up the metal, but like off a little bit to the side of them. is what
Yeah,
we're saying.
yeah. You are absolutely spotted. There's
Oh,
no,
yeah.
there's no role against
yeah,
this.
no, no,
We're
no.
just trying not to like
Floating entities in the
fly
air of a
directly
desert.
at those people.
Yeah, you just giving them a berth.
Yes.
You can do so. You are spotted by them. They point you out. They look at others like that, and they're like, they don't seem to be angry. You wave at them. They're just like, you just caught them off guard because you appeared out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can descend within the trees if you like. You watch them just out of sight as they now, perhaps their line of sight, your line of sight to them could be blocked by buildings and other things.
Yeah. Does the worm,
react.
the churning in the sand below us?
Now that you are below, you cannot see.
No, it didn't react to us leaving.
No.
right?
I mean, we can still
Not that you
look
could tell.
back at it, right?
Once
Well,
you are
that's
down
where
in
it's
there
in,
and
yeah.
touch ground,
Oh
you
yeah,
cannot
yeah.
see.
No, I just mean like as we were floating over, did it react?
You move reasonably quickly. Not that you could see.
Gotcha.
All right. Once we touch, I'm going back up.
Yeah,
To get
I'll
Trisheni.
untether it from Conk and like,
Thank you. Thank you.
hand her the rope so you can go get her.
Yeah.
I just hover. Enjoy flight while it lasts.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I can.
While you send back for the second trip for the grocery bags, you
Calling her grocery.
I'm grocery bags.
I'm just imagining you have to go back for a second trip. It's the grocery bag analogy. Come on, get with it.
I'm a
I've
bag
never
lady
made 2
now.
trips.
My
That is
pinkies will
such,
be
that is
purple.
such a horrible thing to say to the creator of the Church.
Okay,
of Poopty.
okay. Moving on. What happens is you see 2 of the individuals that are in a little bit more of an uniform aspect. They seem to be human, as far as you can tell. Do I don't want to say saunter, but just kind of like trot over to where you are, and just look a little like confused, and then get a look at you and go like,
Hello.
Telepath.
What? That was me.
I'm assuming you're like waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was.
"Hello."
Yeah, hey, what's up?
You hear in your mind their mouth doesn't move.
Where are we?
Weird.
Yeah. You don't speak out loud?
Are you one of the doctors?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no.
Diggy hole.
That makes a roll deception check.
Disadvantage.
No way this can go badly.
You do have inspiration. Remember that.
That's right.
Disadvantage too.
I will use that. I really wish I didn't have disadvantage. Deception.
Charisma based.
Yeah, so that's actually not that bad. So that's a 15.
15.
All right.
Are you looking for him?
Could you be more specific?
Are you looking for the doctor?
I thought I said I was the. Yes, we are looking for the doctor.
Are you one of the doctors possessive?
Where are we? Let's start with that.
We call it the Borough. Welcome.
The Borough. How far from the boss are we?
I don't know. I've never been.
Hey, Cole. I think he's telepathing with this person. Maybe you should butt in.
Except for I don't know that he's
Is it
telepathing
like
with
this
this
is like-
person.
No, we can like he's.
Oh, yeah,
You can see the level of
Gestures are like-
concentration going on. And
Excuse my friend. We are. How can we help you today? I chime in with him.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a couple of us who can do that. I told them we were doctors, by the way.
Which doctor?
I don't fucking know.
That's not helpful, Log. If you're gonna lie, you gotta give me details.
We're doctors. I mean, technically that's true because I'm a Shenny.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
and out of everybody here, I'm the one who's trained in medicine. So, I mean, it's not a complete. But what has my friend?
Doctors right now.
Where are we at now? Exactly. Like, what is the name of this city?
The Borough. The Boroughs.
The Boroughs?
Yeah. We got that far.
I can't remember. You took the notes. Were we supposed to meet the doctor at the Boroughs or at the boss?
Boss.
I think we're in the wrong city. I'm actually saying this to this person, like in my head.
is this a city?
It seems that it's not the desert anymore, so it seems like it'd be a city. What is this place? Like, there's buildings, there's people.
Paradise.
Why don't you speak out loud?
It's been a while since I have done that.
I mean, but you can. You just choose not to.
Force of habit, perhaps?
Honestly, we were hiding from the worms and just saw that this place seemed to be somewhere we could Potentially run
you are
from them.
travelers.
Yes, we're traveling through.
You are travelers that are one of the doctors looking for them. The doctor healed you and you're looking to come back? Are you okay? Is something wrong?
I'm fucking pooped.
He's a little too
You have
much.
sepsis?
Little too much time in the sun.
Yeah, what you said.
He's suffering from.
You're tired, of course. Sure. Would you like to?
We just need to get the rest of our. We're
Well,
still
there-
waiting for another.
I'm
we
not
got
sure of
more
the
coming.
doctor's whereabouts, but
It's okay. We just need to rest if we can. Can I ask why you're putting up those pieces of metal, though?
precaution just in case the worms get a little too rowdy.
They were looking rowdy before.
Yeah,
so.
They
there
mostly
was
do not bother.
there was
us.
3 of them that we saw. So
Oh. Must be something delicious.
I believe it was us.
We got quite close without them noticing. Usually they protect us from many things much farther out.
They
Did Queenie
protect
give
you.
us a name? No.
For what?
Her doctor.
Just the doctor
the doctors.
in the plague mask.
She showed us a drawing of them, a sketch of them, but did she give us a name or a title?
No, she didn't have either.
Are you talking about Queenies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She just said the plague. Just described the plague mask.
Correct. I'm wondering if that doctor is this doctor.
I know.
No, because we know who that doctor is.
Well, we are not one of these doctors. We are physicians of sorts. We just know of a few different ones.
You are
which,
doctors yourself.
I've studied the medicine myself, and
I've opened some things up.
Right.
he's very good at the initial part.
She.
They are very good at the initial part of surgery.
I do not know the first thing about it. I'm just doing my job, just as everyone else here is. You said you are exhausted.
Yes, we are just waiting for one more
You are
to
thirsty?
escape the. Escape them. Yes. Is there somewhere that we can rest safely here?
We can, if you'd like to visit the well, you can take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Travelers are welcome.
Oh yes.
Should the doctor be in attendance at some point, you may visit the estate.
Okay, that would be.
Was that big fucking building over there?
Yes.
Is Trishani joined us by now?
I mean,
the respite or the retreat? The retreat.
The retreat.
Yeah. It is known as the brass retreat.
the brass.
The larger estate.
The brass retreat.
Yes.
I heard the breast retreat.
That's what I heard too. That's why I wanted a clarification.
Pardon me, as you're not from this area, I assume.
No. This is much harder than the area I'm used
You are
to.
travelers from abroad, then. It makes sense that you would be. The doctor healed you, then, yes?
Yeah. But I'm still pooped, so.
Roll deception.
He is pooped.
People have
You don't
healed
just
you.
has
cover
been
up
healed.
a lie with the truth added onto the damage.
He's been healed by a doctor before.
Hey, the best lies have truth mixed in.
But he knows that that's not the doctor they're referring
Just ask
to.
any politician.
So that's going to be a 12 with,
12.
with a disadvantage.
Has your sickness relapsed?
I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in here.
Pardon me. I didn't mean to intrude upon your privacy. You're more than welcome to wait here for the doctor to return.
So we're waiting for another of our group to come, and then we'll, powwow and
Not
stuff.
everybody
Do
could
you,
get
you have a
away.
caravan that you have been traveling with?
No, just another one of our friends that will be joining us a similar way here soon.
Incoming flying door!
Well, I mean, I'm pretty
I
sure they
see.
saw him land and then take off again.
Fascinating. This is as they look at Conk that's still in there.
sorry.
I will message as soon as we land. I'm gonna message Trishani though in her mind and go. Do you know of any doctors around here, like the Borough, the Brass Retreat? Like, does that ring any bells?
Can I?
Roll a history check.
All right.
So awkwardly quiet.
I guess they don't talk out loud.
How do you know?
Dirty 20?
Because they started. Do you know hand sign?
No fucking clue.
Well, that's not good. Log's lying his ass off, and we don't know shit.
They started trying to talk to us through their hands.
I told him I was a doctor, which is kind of true because I'm a shenny. So
Great
It is
people
true.
we decided to put out here.
Yeah, but I would not want to. I don't want to clean up your messes if you try and do stuff, because you're not going to be good.
well, who else is gonna clean him up?
I mean, that's not my job, Log.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we should probably tell the other. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of.
You see, Cole, you notice that the two that are here are very, I don't want to say intensely, but very focused on your lips as they look back and forth at you talking to each other.
See, we're not.
I mean,
we're talking
we're-
mentally. I'm not moving my
Okay,
lips.
okay.
Keeps doing that.
Argus and I were
something
whispering
fell
to
in
each
my
other.
pocket.
Yeah, they'll look at like any speaking and then just watch.
What's happening?
Why are they not talking?
We like
We start.
we start sharing information. Like,
Okay.
Log said we're doctors.
So we can go in.
Yeah, but there's apparently some doctors here.
Okay.
Okay.
Why do we want to go in here? Just to get.
Well, I mean, I'm exhausted for one, but you know.
I mean, we need a day's rest, unless you want to like go back out with the worms.
I mean, we just got up.
And apparently, and I'm gonna let them know. Apparently, the worms protect this place.
It's interesting.
So I don't know if we can easily leave, like just by walking away.
Well, maybe we can just. No, I mean, what if we go into town? We saw that there was
Maybe
commerce.
they
We can
have a
say
safe
something.
way to get there.
Yeah, something. Let's
that's-
just blend
Ask
in.
if they have,
They may have a
caravans
caravan.
or anything.
They think we were coming with a caravan. It sounds like they
So then
haven't seen one in a
people
So
come-
there
while.
are caravans
So
that
people come and leave.
They said travelers are welcome.
Yes.
So we got to figure out how to hook on with one of those.
Is there a
Yeah.
is there a way to travel? I'm back to him. Is there a way to travel to Babas from here easily?
I do not know. I have never been.
Do you know where we might inquire about that?
The most well-traveled individual here is the doctor, but they are not always here.
Is
They-
there a
Travel.
is there a area where like caravans and merchants tend to meet in the city, like that we could go, or this place that we could go?
No,
Okay.
most that come along here is not intended to come here exactly. And,
Yeah.
and
We get
come
the
with
feeling.
this. It come in a sorry state. It need to be healed by the doctor before they can continue their travel. Others choose to stay, as
He
it
had-
is paradise.
He had been they had been healed. That's just me screwing up. They had been healed recently, and unfortunately, we brought them into the maw too soon after being healed. And just the heat of this place has really exhausted
Of course,
them. I just need a good place to rest.
I'm not a physician, so you're more than welcome to help yourself to
you say
whatever
no
amenities you may want within the town.
Okay, is that a good well to like camp nearby?
There is a central well that reaches the water table that is deep underground. Much water available. Much water.
But again, it is allowed to talk out loud, right?
Or is it preferred to?
You see them like. Yes,
Oh, so we're speaking.
this one was speaking. Yeah, the first word you've heard them say.
Okay.
It's just
They like make a sound. Yes, sound with their hands. When they're doing so.
Trisheni, is that hand sign? Is that normal?
I mean,
Is it something you know?
is
Is
it?
this a Marisian thing? Or is this a...
Is it? It's not quite Kenren.
Roll a.
Or it's not quite Marie
Maitan.
Maitan, yeah.
Is this like
Roll
MSL?
a. I'm gonna say roll a straight intelligence check.
or
Okay.
Maw sign language.
Marisian sign language?
12.
12. I mean, they seem to be doing some type of physical, visual hand speak.
When they said yes, what language was it in?
It was in common,
Okay.
and it was with a Merisian accent.
Okay.
If I don't speak with an accent, then it's usually in that language because you understand. No, not in common. in that language because you wouldn't have an accent in
Your own
the
language.
vernacular.
It's a little bit that Wookiee effect of
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't
Like
hear it the
if
right
you
way.
guys are speaking Mauritian back to each other or Maitan back to each other or something like that, there would be an accent.
Yeah.
It would just be perfect that language because that vernacular is in that that phonetic.
Right.
Well, that's.
Is the
I would be more comfortable away from the wall.
Yeah, can we-
yeah?
Don't
Let's
mind.
Yeah.
go touch that. But you know, is that those hand gestures you're doing? Is that the preferred language of communication here, or is it just
You're speaking to him
like out loud? and
Out
stuff?
loud?
Yeah.
they
And but I will tap my head like just tell him it's okay to like just think his thoughts.
they like are halfway through a thought with their hands and then they like think for a moment. And then you hear you should probably know that many of us here are deaf. Many by choice. But not all.
by choice.
It is complicated. It's a service thing, out of respect. So there are many of us who do not hear. We are skilled, but we do not do so until later in life, once we have become adults to choose to do so. So many of us are skilled at reading lips. But you should know, if you intend to communicate with somebody, make sure that they are looking at you.
Sometimes this may be the better way then, and I think it back to them.
It is a little unsettling.
Could you
random
would you
dude's
be able to
talking in my
teach us
head.
some basic gestures for talking to people who may not have the easiest time?
You can just wave to say hello.
Well, yes, that's. I mean, that's. But there's other things that like might be
You
easier to
can
communicate.
make signs like this. It means open home. That's pretty much asking like, may I share your cohabitate? May I share your domicile with you?
Okay.
To a thing. You can.
Cole's like doing it as he does it to like practice doing
This is trade, barter, trade. As if you're handing something over.
Is the finger still what it normally would be?
The finger.
Yeah, you know which one.
A very long question.
I mean, there are 10 fingers. Well, technically 9, but
The
I thought it was
You know those gestures that you don't
Eight?
do to people you like?
the ones
Or
that
your
if you let someone
grandma's.
know
No.
you know.
Oh, you don't have rude gestures here?
I hope not.
Log, don't do that here.
But he doesn't know what it means. It means I can do it all I want.
Log, don't insult people
Very
just to
firm.
insult
Very
people.
like, all I got from that is that it's easy to do here. Don't get on my ass about it.
All I got is that I can insult people and they won't care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I just
What are
heard.
you going to tell them it means?
Thank
You
you.
said you would stop.
Sup?
So,
Peace to all
greeting
worlds.
from
Right.
your land.
so once they,
Peace to all worlds.
once the initial group has
So then
gone
they go out
down,
into the world and start
I
greeting
would
people
have
with another finger.
stopped playing, go downstairs to like the main entrance, which
Sure.
is usually
You are by the retreat, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
and probably sit on the front steps and take up playing the or at the entrance and
Sure.
play my flute until I'm pretty sure that sooner or later they're going to show up here.
There is a bit of a vista from the retreat that allows you to see kind of like the central area of the town, and within which is the well, which is quite busy. People go through and do stuff, and there have been sort of contraptions built where you can pull down and it will pull water from one particular area and set it. Let's say so much so that it's kind of set into a bit of a trifecta where rather than pumping it, it kind of uses a siphon to create a bit of a tank up top, and so when you pull it down, it just allows a slant to allow some water to come down. So people visit it often. Very seldom are there actually lines for it. More often during the day, like early in the morning, and then later at night, because then they're done with their work for the day and they have to go collect water for whatever it is. You can see that area. It's mostly pretty clear. It's kind of like I don't want to say bazaar, but like a quad in that sense.
Yeah, I'll kind of sit off of the main entrance in maybe whatever shade I can find.
Sure,
And just
yeah.
watch for them to kind of arrive.
Plenty of
And
shade,
playing
lots of-
playing my flute.
You got
And
it. Yep.
just-
Plenty of shade. I would say this more interior town, not floral shade because the trees.
Right,
are
right. This is just
but
like
tapestries and if other fabric hanging from in order to create. There's quite a lot of shade here. The buildings can be quite clustered together in certain areas. The estate has a bit of a berth, but yes, there's plenty of awnings for you to sit under.
yeah, just a place where I know that isn't trafficked by
Sure.
a lot of people.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
With how quiet the town is, and we're in like an acoustic ring, does his flute sound carry?
So not necessarily acoustic, I want to say, because there's a
I mean,
lot
it's
of
hard-sided
buildings.
walls, right?
Yeah,
It's
but there's a
gonna-
lot of stuff in here that's kind of like scattering
Yep.
stuff. I would say
I'm just. Does it carry?
I do play it at full blast.
That's
because
true.
There isn't a reason.
it's
not to.
possible. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
I don't hear it with my passive perception of 20.
I mean,
Are you listening for flute music, or what it is?
I
that
mean,
you're
I'm
doing?
always listening.
Why don't
for
you tell me
music.
what it is that you're trying to do right now, and then we'll see if you're distracted.
I can't
21.
hear anyone talking. So what
mean,
would I hear?
TJ, I'm
Hold on.
always listening.
Let me
for
do one at a
music,
time.
so-
Okay.
21.
21. I'd say you hear the faint sounds of some sort of
Especially
melody.
if we're moving towards.
If that's what you guys want to do, I haven't really gotten an idea from you if you guys wanted to start moving into town or
Are
not,
they
or whether you're
talking
done.
yet?
Yeah.
What?
Can we move in?
What are we doing?
I mean, I was just getting some stuff from him to like go off, but if we want to start walking towards that, yeah, we can.
Walking towards what?
He
Yeah.
said we can like go to the well.
Yeah,
and
he
there's some
I
doctor
asked him
we
the
could get
direction
treated
towards the well
by.
and had him pointed off, so we were kind of
So let's walk and talk.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walk and
Let's go to the well and see what's here.
Well, and I get it.
Also,
might be
in
able
the
to find
current
some
area that
information.
you are in, there are some loud noises that
Okay.
of the sheet metal
Right.
being slapped up against the limestone. And
I will say this: Cole is always listening for music, though.
yeah, I'm sure he is. When you are coming into this out of a very stressful situation, there's a bunch of other factors. Roll with me for a moment. You could possibly hear some sort of melody throughout. Nothing. I think that
Direction.
perhaps relative to this may
Just
be
sort of
abnormal, but to
ambient.
you is something that you initially would any city would just kind of discard as perhaps a busker that you don't even think firstly about. Never mind second thought about.
As quiet as it is.
Yeah, it depends on whether Zemdak would think that is
It's like
something that they would like to
The
focus on.
town
or not.
version of elevator music. It's just there.
I was gonna say, this is more like if you're used to somebody like Beethoven and you're hearing Chopin for the first time.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's a very different feel to the
We also don't
tradition.
know this area, so we're like, okay, this might just be the music of the town.
Right.
Yep. None of you have been to the mall except for Trishini.
Cole would be the only one that would know the difference in music styles.
No, I don't think you actually passed through the mall, did you?
What?
No, you went around.
No, but like
No, yeah,
Somebody
I
would've
went,
taught
I went
that kind of
east
thing.
or west from my town.
West
I've never
and then
been in the
down.
mall.
Yeah.
I might know a little bit potentially if traders from the mall went
Correct.
up to my town.
Yeah.
college
Yeah.
might have taught him different musical styles.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, do you play a Mauritian style? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. No.
You play in your own style.
Yeah.
I would say, I think if you guys are trying to meander towards probably the center of town, or just sort of, you guys are tired, exhausted. They said you can draw
by
water
the
from the
well.
well if you like. Nobody's escorting you. They just
Yeah.
said, help yourself. Go ahead and do whatever you like. You're under your own volition. You take care of yourselves. That's
So
how we do
can go
things
to
here.
that retreat place too.
Yeah, we can
yeah.
get treated
Right.
For
I would
what?
say, as you
That's where
guys
the
are,
doctor is.
for being pooped.
Why didn't you ask them what the doctor treats?
We did.
Yeah.
And they went, we don't know. We're not doctors.
Okay, then let's go find out what the doctor treats. Maybe they have a way of curing the wandering.
Maybe.
Worth asking.
What were you
What's
saying, TJ?
I was saying that Cole, as you guys are kind of moving through the town and trying to find the central location, it's not like it's a bit spiderwebby and a bit like haphazard, but it's
we have
not
a
difficult
bounty
to,
hunter
to
with
like
us.
move further away from the walls to try to find center, because you can usually, from some certain, as long as there's not too many buildings in the way, see where the wall is and just move farther away
I
from
mean,
it.
spiderwebs even still go to.
You notice that there's not as much flora. The flora is mostly concentrated on the perimeter of this what did we call it before? Not valley.
Caldera.
Caldera. Whatever.
I mean, it's volcanic, but there's no other.
Yeah, it's not really a caldera. It's
No,
just
no.
a,
There is a
it's a
word for it. I'm
reverse
just not gonna
mesa.
look it up right
Is that
now.
what you're thinking?
cenote has water in it.
Well, yeah, but
Well,
it's
no,
the
there's
same.
actually some, like, in Vietnam, I was just reading about this the other day. They have some that are actually, like, little biomes inside these lowered caves that are entirely different climates and everything like that
Yeah.
from what's above.
It's kind of like if a sinkhole
I
had
just
a
can't
bottom.
remember. Yeah, exactly. But I just can't remember what they're
It's
called right
wide.
now.
But anyway, in this depressed area, you
It's called the Borough.
you begin to hear musings of music. There's not a lot of ambient noise as far as when it comes to like voices speaking. There are feet shuffling, things moving about. You move past a few people. They see you, they smile, they nod. Some, like half of them smile and nod and continue what it is that they're doing, but nobody gives you like odd looks or anything like that. Even to Eleazar, nobody gives you odd looks. Even to the Magitech thing, that they just like, and then they move on. And then they continue doing what it is that they're doing. There are a smattering of. I would say there's definitely
yeah.
a influence of Parisian style to the architecture, the culture, the clothing, that type of thing, but and the accent. But as far as like the types of people racialized, there's some Maitan, there's quite a bit of humans, there's some sun dwarves, like gold dwarves, which are like more pinkish and have a more sun-kissed complexion, and some are darker, and some are far like have a much more I want to say bronze complexion, like verging on like cocoa chocolate, that type of thing. Like there's it's all types of thing. Like they have the different, much more variety of skin tones than in the Razorfang, because the Razorfang doesn't have any sun.
Right.
So there are, I'd say the three that are most popular here are humans, Maitan, and dwarves. But there's a smattering of others. You've seen some Ibcast here, moving around about. You see, I would say, some halflings moving about. There's a decent amount of gnomes. Every once in a while, you see a goblin kind of wrapped up like a Jawa in that type of sense. Race doesn't seem to be a factor here at all.
So why is there music playing when people deafen themselves?
It's not all of them do.
It just
And-
seems weird,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it does.
And they said they deafen themselves by choice. Like, that's weird.
Shisheni, is there something in that religion where they would deafen themselves?
DM, should I roll for it?
Yes,
I
if
mean,
you'd
I'm
like
also
to roll a
trained in
religion
religion.
check, yes.
Yeah.
And you're referring to the
The-
hold on, I will.
Empire of the Sun.
Yeah. The sun.
Is it something that I would know with that? Because I'm also trained in religion.
I will say they don't seem to know what's going on in Babas or anything though.
We haven't asked. I mean, you asked one little guard.
Yeah, actually, we asked about going to Babas and heard nothing about like anything.
They didn't say to not go
The
to
Sovereign of
Babas.
Sand, is what you're
Sovereign of
referring
Sand,
to?
yes.
Or the
Anything
Soul
about-
Sovereign,
Yeah.
or like some say the Sultan of
I-
Sand or whatever. But
Yeah.
Sovereign
Yeah.
of
I'm
Sand.
also trained in religion. Do I know of any religions that?
You can
deafen
also roll a
themselves?
religion check if you like.
That
It would be
one.
something that you were not as familiar with, but go ahead. What did you get, Trisheni, for your religion check?
26.
26. And you are one of the, remind me, you are of the two that actually do follow the religion more than your sister?
It's more like, yeah, she's.
Okay.
Trisheni's more
That's-
religious.
I just wanted to know which
Yeah.
one of you, yeah. So
But
you,
not-
it's something that you would have studied at the very least in a educational
Right.
context. I would say, as far as people deafening themselves, that doesn't necessarily, I don't want to say it doesn't ring a bell, but it doesn't specifically align to
ring a bell
anything
like that.
from, as far as you understand, scripture or cultural leanings or types of religious norms when it comes to the old Sovereign of Sand, deific emperor that protected Babas with that type of thing. There are definitely instances of sacrifice to such an entity through worship and devotion. Some will go on treks without food or water to see if their meditative and devoutness can withstand longer within the wilds. And like there are many other forms of, I would say, a general term of devotion through some sort of metaphorical self-flagellation is something that would subscribe to that type of thing. But as far as something being as specific as deafening yourself, not that you know of.
I mean, no. People can, do certain things for the sovereign Ascend to, try to feel closer to the one god. But, deafening is not a normal thing.
Yeah, no, I'm locking with all of you.
21.
So
You get a little bit different type of feel from this. You think about the religion, you're like, okay, devotion, sacrifice, everything. And you look around, usually when there is a type of community or culture devoted to a religion, they are proud of it and they display some sort of symbol of said. You see no necklaces, pendants, like bands, like there are no, as far as you can tell, uniform symbols or insignias that denote any type of religion. Most notably, not something that could probably be the Sovereign of Sand, which is kind of, I want to say it's like similar to an Eye of Horus, but it has a bit of there's some difference to it. It's like it's within a rather than a pyramid, more of a ziggurat shape, with it's kind of similar to the all-seeing eye in the back of like the dollar bill. It's like just the Eye of Horus without like the loop and the bit, within a ziggurat shape, and then a rising sun around it on the back.
I don't see any religious symbols anywhere.
But yeah,
That's even strange
we
considering
know at least
that
one member of a certain
zealots.
group operates out here.
right,
And we know other members of that same group remove their eyesight
right,
for their group.
right.
We probably should be on alert that this doctor may be one of them.
Right. Well, and yeah, I'm basically doing like telephone. Like I'll talk to you guys, and then if you guys have anything to relay, we're kind of doing that telephone.
I thought I was the doctor.
We said we were both doctors,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
especially because I actually have studied medicine.
I love how we like skipped like, are you one of the doctors? Possessive was what they were trying to communicate, and he's like, oh no, am I one of the doctors? Plural. Yes, I'm one of the doctors.
That's what happens when you talk to Locke. man.
yeah.
And that's part of the reason I like
Yeah,
clarify.
I love how that's canonical. Like, it's great.
I was like, no.
It wasn't a
we are
failing on my
doctors.
part to try to communicate. It was
No.
just okay. Good.
He was long.
Your log being
It's totally log. Log being log. Yes.
Well, no,
okay,
and that's why
absolutely.
Cole like corrected. It's like, no. We are doctors, but we're not the.
Oh, you're a
doctors.
doctor too. Fix my child.
Can't get my cleaver.
Oh no!
We're doing
So solid.
That one
We're not in
parable which they
Ketamine
chop the
anymore.
kid in half.
I was thinking an awful
well,
circumcision is
yeah.
what I was thinking.
Oh, jeez.
The only
Welcome Matt to the table, please.
I mean the only operation on children that Log has seen by a doctor.
Okay,
is
we
the-
don't need to
was-
rehash this whole thing.
was
pretty
us
dramatic.
handling the.
Yeah, okay. My God, I have
That's
to.
how you fix
I
kids,
have to
right?
stop you. So,
It all fits.
It really does. It's not great. Still,
Not
but-
So we are moving towards the well,
yeah.
towards the music.
Yeah, it's not too hard to find
Yeah.
that like, the
With an
central
urban,
area.
urban bounty hunter. with
Eventually, you
this
come
too.
across somebody holding a bucket, and you're just like, oh, well, we'll just follow them.
I cast great water in their bucket.
Do you?
I am trying to listen more to the music and try and get a feel for like the sound and everything.
I
though,
mean,
too.
you feel like you're, getting to a more open arena, which could be possibly easier to hear that, as you can see ahead if you follow this individual. So, yeah, I'll just say, for the interest of time, you're able to do so. They draw some water from the well, and it has a bit of an interesting design to it. Zemdak, it looks something that you've never seen before. It doesn't have like that kind of pump thing or that draw from the bucket that you have to crank and then pull up from the well. It has something that appears to have some sort of contained tank with some sort of siphonic ventilation that constantly pulls water from the bottom of the well, and then has 3 small aquifer bits that kind of stick out that you could pull the rope down, and it puts it on a further slant, because normally they're like this, and you pull it down and then they go on a slant, and then water comes down and you can fill it. So 3 people or 3 containers can be filled simultaneously from this. It's like a water tower that they built into this well that has some sort of siphon thing. It's cool. It's nice. It looks like, and it's like it was almost prototype-ish, not slapped together MacGyver-esque, but it looks
One-off.
something that was like, hey, this works, and I don't need to touch it for several years, so leave it.
I'll
No point.
do my little nerding out, try and figure out how it works.
Sure. I would say you don't no need to roll, but you spend a couple minutes just kind of looking at it. You go like, oh, physics, siphon, suction. That's how this works. It must be. Which also makes you think, wow, there must be a very large water table, and this thing must go very, very deep for it to grab that much water from this environment.
I'm trying to listen and get the kind of melody of the music, and after a minute, I want to try and kind of like play a harmonious melody with it on my new flute.
You want to harmonize with it.
With my new flute, yes.
Okay.
'Cause I got a new flute. I
crystal
want
flute.
Since he was in the open, now that we're here,
I'm about to narrate that. So, Adam, you always do that.
Jump the gun.
Steal my thunder. So you are able to see what looks like a couple new faces move into view. You see one small, short, that's completed and followed by this large metal construct thing. It's not too dissimilar from things that you have seen before within more of the sciencey areas of the areas that you have been. Something functional and moving around is a bit of a rarity, but it's not something you have never seen before. And it seems some shorter individual that seems to be looking and checking out the well. All these are new faces that seem to be moving through, and you hear. No need to roll performance checks. No really need to.
Okay.
What instrument are you playing?
My new flute.
Your new
Terzine
The
flute.
Terzine flute. Yeah.
You see this individual playing some sort of crystalline or glass flute that appears to I don't think make eye contact with you, but just kind of you get the idea that they are aware of your presence and can hear you because they're trying to harmonize with whatever melody that you are emanating.
Okay. Should I describe myself then?
See, I don't know. She told me I had it.
They haven't
I
seen
mean,
you
we
at the
made
current
two-
moment.
Oh,
unless
they
you
haven't
want,
seen me.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
nothing
see
else.
them.
I bought a
I don't think
flute
they
back
have
in
seen you
Manheim that I
unless you
thought.
want to be seen and approached.
Oh no, I'm not
I mean, it could've been,
hiding. I was just
whittling it,
getting
right?
in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
shadows.
I don't think
Yeah.
they really. He's
Yeah,
just kind
we
of
had
hearing the
whole
music
day
about,
there,
and
so,
he's playing it,
I
kind
missed
of
that
trying
part.
to do moving around. But you see them. There's no reason why they would see you.
Okay.
Come on,
I'm
new instrument as a bard.
I'm going to stop playing, but I'm going to end it with a really shrill kind of shriek on the flute.
Very jarring.
Very jarring sort of thing, and then come out of the shadows and start approaching the flute player, if
Okay.
he's still playing.
Yeah, you just kind of hear an atonal sharp that kind of trills until it fades. You're like, oh, okay, that was unexpected, and then just abruptly stops. And you're like, huh.
I'd see him at that point. I would try and keep playing where my mind thought the melody was going
Okay,
along
cool.
that.
I think you and Argus, with how high your passive perception, eventually notice that. Do you still have your flute in your hand?
Oh yeah.
You eventually notice that there is an individual walking towards beeline,
Oh yeah.
beelining towards you guys. Not quick, but just with a flute in their hand. You notice them. You can go ahead and describe your character
Okay.
for me.
So human.
Leave you guys for a moment. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, he's like this recording anyways. So he stands a little bit below 6 feet tall. He's 20-something, early 20s, human male with a complexion sort of dusty, like he spends a lot of his time outside. very short cropped hair. His clothes mimic the rest of the communities, just sort of like a simple, tunic or whatever. Really, nothing stands out except for he has really, really blue eyes, which are in stark contrast to his skin tone. And the flute that he's carrying is ornate, and it doesn't look, it's a metal embossed flute that doesn't seem to look like anything he should have. So it's just a really,
I don't know if that would.
It's up here.
I don't know if that would scream out to Cole, just because we all look like we should not have the things that we have.
Right, but for the community.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's
For this person, that's the thing.
That's what's
No, yeah, I totally
He
get what you're
even
saying.
has what looks like a makeshift kind of like sheath coming off of his belt that the flute would go into. Other than that, he has kind of like a slim build, but he does have sort of like a stomach, so he's been eating well. But in this environment, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's pretty much it. He's not wearing like any backpack or anything. He's just walking kind of like his face, his intention doesn't quite match the fluidity and like the calmness of the rest of his body. Like he's kind of like holding back his interest kind of thing.
Cool.
And you said he's about how tall?
He's about 5'11".
5'11", okay.
A little bit, and human, if I missed that.
But focused on the other flute player.
The other flute.
The other human, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll see. Cole would be sitting there. Cole's got his hood up though, since everybody in the mall is freaking out about everything. Cole's pretty sure his eyes don't want to be, visible to everybody easily.
Don't allow your eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cole has really bright green eyes. However, the sclera of his eyes is blood red, almost like he's had a blood vessel burst in his eyes, but it's the whole thing. And he would probably be sitting with his cane like next to him. He's the star. That cane that he has that turns into his sword, because that's what he has there, and it's his little walking stick. But it'd be next to him while he's playing the flute, probably sitting down on the fountain. Big gray kind of cloak, and you can actually see that no matter what way you look at it, it appears like the cloak is blowing in the breeze, even when the breeze isn't actually blowing at that time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He doesn't seem to. He glances at the rest of the party, but you don't see any sort of like. He immediately goes back to the, and it's not necessarily that he's looking at you. He's looking directly at like the flute.
Totally get that.
It's an interesting flute.
I'm not gonna lie, Cole's probably paying more attention to the flute that's in his hand than actually him too.
Hey Cole, is there like a secret handshake for like college bards that you have to do?
I nod, and then I just pull out my bean and show it and like have it hanging there to show.
Okay. He doesn't seem to. He notices that you stop playing.
Yeah.
But no acknowledgement of any importance.
Yeah. It's just a little shiny like bean. It's a badge of office for my college and everything like that. So if you saw it, you would know it. But
the melody that I was trying to get TJ to, it's not really. Like you can even see where the flute has been played, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the way that he's holding it isn't it's like watching somebody left-hand a guitar. It's like,
it doesn't appear right.
Like you just picked it up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To like everybody else, it might not appear different, but to like Cole, who's a trained musician, would probably go, that's a little odd.
Yeah, and even the melody doesn't follow conventional. It's almost like, it's just jazzing or scatting.
I actually
whatever.
had a feeling that that's what it was. That's part of the reason Cole wanted to play along, because it was different and new, and wanting to like explore new music and everything like that.
We decided, just to clarify, that the flute is metallic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I see no reason for it to be otherwise.
Well, because it's such high-end sort of thing.
Yeah, it's something. I think it would be probably something that you may have started off with something more mundane, along the lines of something more wooden or earthly, but would probably given something better at some point.
Yeah.
Cole still has his lute strapped to his back
Or
too.
purchase
He always
something
does.
better at some point.
So I look at it, and I've approached them at this point. And I will ask in the normal accent of the area. You play?
A few things.
I point at the flute.
This, and then Cole kind of like nods over his shoulder. This as well, because he's got his lute slung over his back.
And you're speaking, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting melody. Very interesting.
He kind of...
A little chuffed.
Yeah, he's like, thank you.
What is your name?
Doctor calls me Meckel.
Meckel, the doctor. Can you tell me a little bit about this doctor? We haven't heard about a doctor before.
Doctor? Is he in?
Not as far as you know.
Okay. He's doctor.
By the way, my name is Cole.
Okay, you extend your hand. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of puts the flute into his into its sheath.
Yeah.
And like meticulously wraps the sheath closed.
Yeah.
And sort
Puts
of like
hand
reaches
sanitizer
out
on. No, I'm just kidding.
reaches out with the wrong hand, like he's
Mirrors you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cole's like, switches hands with his flute so he can do that. Because Cole never put his flute away. He was still holding it.
when you go to shake his hand, the thing that you probably notice the most, given the environment, is his hands are perfectly smooth. They're not calloused, except for where he would have calloused them from playing the flute.
Okay.
And he just holds your hand. And
Thank you, Mikhail.
You just hold it.
yeah, he's just...
Cole's like, Cole just takes it back like,
Yeah.
Megal's like, are we going this way?
Yeah. No, I mean, if he lets go, I'll
I'm
go.
letting go, but it's like,
The comedy is just too...
Well, hey, he's awkward like
Fucking
us.
bored.
Finally.
So, doctor's expecting you?
no, actually, we were just in the desert and ended up running from worms to your little paradise, as they call it here.
Yeah. Okay. So,
But they mentioned the doctor, and I've studied some physician stuff myself as well. I just hadn't heard of a doctor out here.
doctor's the only doctor I know out here.
Where is here?
Oh, paradise.
That's what they keep saying, but my map doesn't have paradise on it, so...
You have a map?
Yeah. I show him the big map.
I can't. He points at some of the script. What's that?
Oh, I mean, these are words. This is language. I mean, this says Babas, the capital of the Ma here, and down here is where I think this is Keradim down here at the base of the mountains. Like I'm pointing out like cities that we've been at.
Okay. He was watching your mouth and kind of like seems to ignore most of that explanation. He's like, you read from books?
Yes. Oh, yes.
He sees your nod.
Yeah, definitely.
Reaches out his hand.
Sure. All right. Hello.
She's the big reader,
You exist
actually.
now too.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
Meckel.
Mekel. Tresheni. Nice to meet you.
have a book we could read?
Do you have a book you want us to read?
Do you want us to read some of Doctor's books?
You can read anything, really.
You fast forward exposition.
So he goes to each of you and repeats this.
Watch out for these fingers.
Still with the wrong hand.
The skeleton
Yeah, still
hand.
with the wrong.
Oh, so you actually get skeleton hand. with
Yeah,
him.
you get a couple
my-
skeletal
my-
fingers.
yeah, the tips of a few of my fingers are just bone.
Have I experienced that sort of sensation before that I remember?
Feeling bone.
Yeah.
Ooh. Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. Is so that's going to be an 8.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure that we're on the same page with this.
Are
okay?
you
Just give me a
looking
moment.
directly at us?
Yeah.
Once I'm grabbing his hand, yes. It's sort of like a weird afterthought. Like now it's become this formal sort of thing as he's going through.
We have established that this is how our group greets
Yeah,
people.
yeah, pretty much. So he's mimicking this
Right.
now.
Right. Let me
But
just
like
pull it. Make sure.
visually, you're locking on to us when we talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you shake my hand, it looks like it's the size of her hand, but when you actually grab onto it, it's
much
not.
bigger.
It's much larger,
He looks just like me, but
but mirror image.
yeah.
Except for the clothes. The clothes would be
you-
machetes.
Except
Are
for
you in a
underneath all of
bikini?
that is a bugbear.
Okay.
I didn't
I mean,
see this.
It would
up
be
to
kind
you.
of funny if I don't think Log would have thought of that.
No, but
Well,
But
he
it would be
doesn't seem to
hilarious.
respond to Log's difference,
Yeah.
but we're seeing if he responds to the hand, to the hand
bone,
on
yeah.
bone. Yeah.
Right. So I think if you said you got an 8,
Yeah.
I think there's something viscerally uncomfortable about the feel of bone that just kind of elicits some sort of involuntary, like, stemming withdrawal, like, kind of reaction. It's up to you whether that is something
textures that
that
gives you
is,
Yeah.
Heebies.
That makes your skin crawl.
in a sense,
Yeah.
it's more memory based here.
Yeah.
Or like subconscious memory based here. I think it's up to you whether that would be something worth rolling for to decide.
No, I think at this point my reaction is going to be obviously I just barely. Well, no, actually,
It's just
I would
the
probably
tips of my
full
fingers.
on sort of like go to shake your hand,
And then the smooth ivory.
and then the smooth ivory or whatever, and you get this sense of like his hand just starts trembling almost instantly, just starts trembling, and he pulls away from you, and he looks directly at your face. The doctor could help.
With what?
That's on brand.
Yeah. And I immediately go and try to shake hands with the automaton at this point.
He doesn't shake. I control him.
So
I'm on his shoulders.
What does the
So like
doctor
I
help
reach
with?
down.
Oh,
where your hand
okay.
is.
So it looks. Give me an idea. Do you have an idea?
Sort
This
of
is what he looks
gorilla-like.
like.
Okay. And he's sitting on the.
I'm a little gnome that just sort
You're a
of.
little disproportional because
yeah.
Right, right.
he's kind of sitting on his shoulders, a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah, we can describe our characters if you need us to too. So.
That
Yeah,
would
have
be
you not-
helpful.
have you
yeah.
not done so?
No,
Please
no.
do
Cole's,
so.
Cole's the only one who has. So
Yeah, I got his.
Okay.
Please do so now that you're in the middle of
Yeah.
it. Please.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. So
Argus, why don't you go first since he's the one that you just had
I'm
this weird
a
interaction with.
Hildorf with a fire beard. That's his name.
It's a beard made of
A
fire.
beard, a
No,
beard
it's
with
not
all
one
the
with-
different colors of fire in it.
There you go.
I'm about 4 feet tall. Yes, my hand on the left hand, the few of the fingers are burnt down and just bone remains. I got it's day or night right now.
Just day. No, it's night. It's night. It's the evening.
So I have,
Because they will only travel during the evening. I would say it is not very too much long
a
between sunset. We're talking
Oh,
about the
okay.
wee hours of the morning. Something that would make sense that you would get up early in the morning and just be like, yeah, let's
I'm
play
not
some
bugging
music.
anyone.
Yeah.
I'm in a breastplate that is with terrazine all over.
Yeah, I
it.
don't think we talked about any light shining anymore. so yeah.
I have a glowing magical sickle. I don't know if it actually does it glow. I don't remember
it changes.
because
Right?
it changes.
You never
I don't
use
know
it.
if it glows. I don't use it.
I don't think it glows.
And
I
I
think it's
have-
something. If it does glow, it's not enough to light anything.
I have a mirror shield. And around my neck is a fire symbol that's kind of like a lattice work of interworking flame.
Okay, Meckel is definitely avoiding looking at your hand.
Go ahead.
Yeah, construct. He's sort of like a gorilla made into a robot kind of thing. His arms almost reach the ground, essentially. Dome head, and then I'm riding on top of him. I'm just a sort of run-of-the-mill gnome. Dark hair, dark eyes. I've got like a desert garb on, but then over the top of that is like a leather, like sort of a welder's jacket, but like there's all sorts of like loops and pockets, and like there's tools hanging all over the place, and a pair of goggles that sit on my head.
There's like a stepper motor sound, like sound as like this R2D2 style domed head of the turns, and just like kind of you see a couple asymmetrical dots just recognize or just stare at you.
His chest is like the head of a wolf that's been sort of flattened out, and through the eye holes you see sort of this like ocean blue, green, gray, sort of strange flickering light.
I'll look up at you, look at the automaton. Doctor has one in parts.
He does.
Better looking.
Oh.
His.
Mission acquired.
Yeah.
Better than you.
Oh. All right.
Now, Zemdek has a new man.
Yes.
I will be better.
I
So-
can fix my inadequacies.
So Trisheni is 6 feet tall. She's one half her
Maitan.
Ma'itan. So she's dressed just like a lot of the other people here, but in like purples and kind of fun colors, just because that's her style. She's got lots of silver piercings on her ears, and even on her eyebrows a little bit. One half of her, the left side, is all black. The other half is like this dark, like a dark chocolatey brown, like completely split down the middle. She's got a little tough, like curly, kind of curly hair-ish going down the back of her spine, but there's like this magenta pink kind that's like faded out because it hasn't been dyed for a while. Yeah, and she's carrying 2 kopeshes by her side. One's kind of got some greenish hints to it. The other's a little bit more bluish. Little cloak, just complete desert fashion. Like she fits in the most. Currently, she's not wearing boots. It's important. And one of the other things that's really noticeable about her is that she has like this silver thing that goes over her nose. It's like a cap going over her nose, and you notice also just this like lightning type scar, and like almost type silver going all the way from down one of her hands all the way up till you can't see it past her clothes.
What was that
I've
James?
forgotten about that.
What was
Yeah.
that James Bond villain that had that like fake metal nose?
Oh, Goldfinger. Oh no, he had
There
the
was
That
was
was
Jaws
the
with
Jaws
the
guy.
teeth,
That
but there
was-
was nobody with the nose.
Yeah, there was.
It's another trope from another thing, like
Yeah.
where like people are missing nose. Oh, was it the red guy from Captain America who then wore the false nose?
Well,
Or-
yeah,
it doesn't
Red
matter,
Skull
like
did do
Red
that,
Skull, and
but-
then had him. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's like
I-
over
but-
her
I also have like
canine snout.
the left side of my face is sort
Oh
of
right,
like somewhat dissolved. Like
that's
you can,
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about it. It's
Yeah.
very scarred, and there's even like a hole where you can see his jawbone in one spot.
Yeah, there's like that kind of melted cheese small hole that you can see through and see some of his teeth and his tongue moving. Very, very small. I'd say no more than a centimeter in diameter. But the rest of it looks like melted cheese type of burn scars across the side of his face.
The other thing that you might notice too is, especially since you were curious about the books, at her side she's carrying a book, but it looks just like this. It's like it's a
binder.
binder. It's a
Okay.
binder.
It's a 3-ring binder, plastic.
Yeah.
Do they
Never seen that
help
before.
with the headaches? I'm pointing
What?
at my ears, or at my ears, mimicking your piercings.
Oh no, I just think they look cool. Okay. I don't really get headaches.
Very stoic, confused, kind of.
And then
They help keep you cool.
yes. Yes, they do.
I'm here for it.
Yes.
And then,
And then, yeah.
she's going to describe what I look like because
She.
well, I look like her sister right now.
Oh, okay. So it's the same thing, just reversed.
Reverse.
Yes,
Yeah.
it literally looks like
so,
this.
so when you go to shake my hand, the hand is going to look like her sized hand, but when you actually grab onto it, it's not.
Okay.
Feels
So-
bulkier and furrier.
I looked over.
So yeah, so basically that blue and green headband, and there's some monocles on there. It's kind of a symbol of the Animagin or Animagi. And then
Magi or Animagin.
Yeah. and then she has a collar necklace that is just filled with vials of various substances, and then an ankh. And then I don't know. You wouldn't have seen her more recent stuff, but
So
like
I would have been when we last saw her.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was
saw her with
Anime
the
Beach
bikini.
Day.
Yeah.
Anime Beach episode.
Well, he did also see her not in the Anime Beach Day, so
Right. So yeah,
probably would have
we started
remembered.
in the tunnels, and so I would have dressed appropriately, in conspicuous. I
probably
feel like a
would've
bikini would have been a
caught
little too conspicuous in the tunnels.
I think you're wearing.
Yeah.
So-
I don't
garb.
believe that.
Yeah.
I
But looking
honestly do
like-
not believe that Log would have had that thought at all.
yeah, but in general, Log
I will
currently
going
looks.
to impose my will and say I think he did. We're not doing that. So
But in general, Log, who's Misheni, looks like just more kept in general. Well, like there's more purpose for some of the piercings, and hair's a little bit more managed and stuff. So
Have I experienced similar
chakram on you as well.
chakrams, and I would imagine. That
have I experienced or remember dissidents like that before? Like feeling versus seeing and stuff like that?
Dissonance.
Yes.
Not dissidence. Dissonance. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yes.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to just try to figure out what it is you were asking.
That's mission.
I would say perhaps not so much in others, but the feeling of dissonance is something that you're probably familiar within yourself,
Okay.
especially during your sessions.
I will say, as I'm shaking your hand, then I'll look at you like there's no personal space between us, and be like, secrets, and then finish shaking your hand once you try to pull it away.
I just nod.
Yeah, you probably like, oh, there's probably magic at play here, but it's none of my business.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, doctor not expecting you?
What does the doctor cure? How would he deal with my hand?
Doctor. Not the doctor.
Just doctor.
Doctor.
Okay.
Are they very particular about that?
That's
He is.
that's him.
Okay.
Doctor.
What does
Is there
doctor do?
more to the name besides
How
doctor?
does doctor cure
Um,
or treat?
things like
What? How would doctor deal with this?
he kind of gets this almost like pained look on his face, and you can kind of see like him starting to shake just a little bit, and he loses his natural skin tone and kind of goes a little bit pale, like he's frightened a little bit, and things. And then he looks back at you. You play? And he starts unwrapping his
I feel like he may need an injection.
yeah. As he's unwrapping his food or whatever, like the shaking seems to stop, and he gets his. He doesn't seem so afraid anymore, and he kind of sits down on the well stoop or whatever, and places his hands in the most awkward way. He's actually holding the flute like sideways.
Completely wrong.
Cole like
Completely
looks at you
wrong.
holding your flute and goes, like gives
Like,
you this
I-
look of like, what the fuck are
Like
you
I
doing?
have crossed fingers that aren't meant to.
Yeah.
But the dexterity and the ability that he has of playing this flute is just phenomenal. It shouldn't be, but
Yeah.
it seems like this is the way that he learned to do it.
Oh yeah, like Cole's like giving you this look of like, what in the fuck are you doing with your hands? That's not how you hold an instrument.
And of course, the breathing techniques are all wrong. And
But
Embouchure is Louis Armstrong on the
yeah,
but,
On the flute,
but
which is
well, I mean,
wild.
Cole will start playing with you, and then he'll think to your thought, to your mind. Sometimes playing is best, isn't it?
I instantly stop. You hear in your head the response for that telepathic thing of just a massive amount of. It's not really a yell. It's sort of like just noise. And he immediately stops playing, and he's like, "Get out!"
Oh yeah, no, Cole just says the things that he lets go. Like,
And
it's- he was waiting for it, but as soon as you say get out, you like feel Cole disengage.
Meckel gets up and storms into the large building that he came out of.
Did you really play a
fuck
long,
did you do?
wrong note there? I
you
mean,
say?
yeah.
Lug, talk out loud with him, not the other way.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Okay.
If there could be an echo, it's probably echoing.
Cole will kind of follow after him, like, and
There's a large banded iron, like wooden, and then banded door that has some iron and brass fittings and studs upon it that you storm through, and
I don't bother shutting it.
you don't bother shutting it. Okay.
Just that's
The
not
weight
my
of it
job.
does eventually shut itself, but in a slower, not dramatic fashion.
oh yeah, I mean, Cole would probably take off to apologize because he wasn't trying to do it. He was just
I
trying
would
to
say
talk to
the
him
door
while we
does
keep
shut
leaving.
before you arrive.
Okay.
At that point, would you like to try to open the door?
Actually, I would do the polite thing here and actually knock on the door first.
Is that something that you would respond to, or would you let somebody else do?
I might do.
Well,
like,
I know nobody else is going to respond,
Not
But-
necessarily.
but
Not
not
necessarily.
normally.
I mean, like it is
No,
still
I'm
open to
basically
well,
just-
the public. So
If they're deaf, they wouldn't hear it.
That's what I was
Knock on the
getting
door.
at. So
that's my mistake.
okay, that's what I was like. Nobody
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
is
lie,
going
I
to
do
answer
the-
that.
Nobody within the brass retreat.
Would hear it.
would hear,
I think there are only a handful that
Right.
would.
and it's not their job to.
It's
open the
not
door.
their job to.
but
open.
and I mean, I do the CrestVahllen version of shaving a haircut when I knock. Yeah.
At this point, I'm just.
That's free. That's copyright free, my dude. That's
No,
That's universal.
That is yeah. That is.
I know it is. I was giving you a chance if you had a special way you wanted to do it.
No, why would you give me more work?
So,
no,
so he
I
gets
like
this-
giving you more
that's
work.
perfect. Don't mess with shaving a haircut. It's perfect. That's why it's been around so long.
So Meckel continues to flee from the atrocious sounds knocking at the door.
Yeah.
And goes up into his private area.
You got it.
We may not want to go in there.
That's why I knocked. Just keep in mind that he did not like when I talked to him in his head.
Okay.
It's good to know.
He seemed a little bit traumatized.
Yeah.
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 So perhaps that was a thing.
And doctor, not the doctor. Like, who gives himself that kind of moniker?
Well, obviously someone who wants to make sure no one else can read or understand any sort of information or learn anything.
Right.
Somebody trying to be a deity.
Well,
Somebody we want to shouldn't have power.
wasn't there something about the doctor when we saw those mind flayers down there?
That was the doctor.
Yeah, they said the doctor.
Right, because everybody is just as big about article use as he is.
I mean,
Somebody
there's a
who
lot
is
of
that type
universities
person
that
might
are.
be.
Well, but is the doctor or calling him doctor his affectation, or is that a difference?
I don't know, what did the guy at the beginning say?
Good job. Nice work.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did the guard at the front say?
They asked if we were the doctors.
I think they were asking if we were here to see the
Patients.
Dr. Log. Like, are you the doctor's patients kind of thing?
So he used the.
Well, no. They said, are you... Yeah, they said, are you the doctors, but not
Or
necessarily.
did they say,
that
are
way.
you doctors?
Right. Was there the in there? Because then the apostrophe comes in.
You expect me to remember this shit?
Not you. I'm asking him.
Close to repeating
Sorry,
myself,
Log.
and I was just like,
I'm like...
no.
Well, and I go, I put it to him, we go, he
remember
told,
what
I
you
got
said.
it from Log, not from them, initially. So, Log's the best bet on this.
And Log.
And TJ, I do remember
They
what
just
you
asked
said,
if
but
we
I'm
were
asking them the question.
doctors, and I said
I'm
yes.
sure you do.
Okay. All right.
Because
Maybe you're
I thought that
the
might be a better answer than no at that point.
maybe you're the spin doctors, but I don't know. Okay. All right. So
I mean, my one cloud spins pretty well, so.
it does. It's rather pointed too.
Yeah.
Although there is a disassembled automaton in there. Who might
You want to go check it out,
who
don't
might
you?
be
You do.
Zytek.
Yeah.
Zytek.
Yeah.
Well,
Zek Tech.
Zectec.
I mean,
well,
I'm not going in there. He's clearly mad at me. You can try.
if we can convince him to read, we'll read some books for him.
He did seem interested in that too.
I'm
Yeah.
worried about you messaging him because that's just gonna be another thing in his
I
head.
know.
I after that
Maybe. Hey, what about sending Shakar with a little note?
There you go.
And be like, book. Just
can't read,
I know,
but
but I could
sure.
draw a book on there. All right, right. You could
I-
draw like a.
I have seen your drawing
I'm sorry.
skills.
It's Zite.
I know.
Z-I-T. Z-I-E-T-E-K-T. Oh my
Zeit.
God.
Zeit.
Zytek.
like Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I love
Zeit.
it.
That's I was reading it off
Zeitech.
here.
Yeah. My bad.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Oh
Zeitech.
God.
Cole will, after he gets no answer at the door, we'll just start playing again.
So I think we go in.
I mean, he didn't answer the door when I knocked. I'm just gonna play out here. Maybe I can get him to come back if I don't talk to him like that again. Up to you if you want to go inside.
Is it locked?
Do you try?
Nope.
I'd say if you want to dig your own hole again, that's on you. I am not doing it for you.
I'm, yeah. I mean, do you want to try getting him down with, yeah, a little picture of the book? Maybe you can draw it this time because I'm terrible at drawing apparently, and the best cursive anywhere in Sasso, but no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
can
then-
do that.
And then Shakar can be a cute little owl and send it to him, and maybe he'll come down. I don't know.
There's not like a knocker or a pole.
There is not. There is. It is
Bell.
a banded wooden,
Okay.
as far as you can tell, door of iron with brass studs. There is a lengthy, long brass handle, kind of like those you see in nice, fancy restaurants in a deep urban setting, like New York or something like that. They have those long cylinders attached and the big old brass fitting that you don't know if it pushes or pulls.
The person that
knocker.
greeted us, did they say we could go in?
Yeah, they said we could go in and get some treatment from the doctor if he was in.
I'll throw on detect magic first and look at the door.
Okay. You ritually casting it or just?
Yeah.
Okay. You
Take
guys.
10 minutes.
Is everybody else being patient enough for 10 minutes?
Well,
I'm gonna misty step through the door.
I think that's a no.
You have to be able to.
I had to have seen it within a minute.
but you didn't.
We didn't see him. We'll go through it.
the door open and close, I guess.
Especially since he didn't shut it behind him, it just shut on its own.
That's kind of. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you roll a perception check for me? How about that? That'll make it fair.
You wandered off.
See if you were like paying attention during that roll.
Job
See
on
if you saw
13.
it. 13. You can make an attempt. We'll see what happens.
Do I see a balcony?
You see a fabric awning that goes over, like, the promenade entrance. There, you possibly could see something of a higher level, something sticking out, although you can't see the top of it. You can only see like the side and the bottom of it.
So I still wouldn't be able to see it, technically.
You could teleport to the side of it and try to grab onto it and climb up it.
I'll wait for his detect magic. I got other ideas.
Are the rest of you waiting for 10 minutes?
I'm.
Do you want to draw a pretty book on this piece
Because
of
I still
paper?
don't know if I even know how to do it.
Yeah, I can.
I'll draw. I will write a book on there for you and write the reading, and then I will draw a picture of somebody talking, like as if they're holding the book, like
Okay.
or as if they're talking like next to it. Like, I can read these for you. It's the best I can do for that.
No, I think that works. It's funny though, because the Maitan language is more like hieroglyphic type style, and I can't draw for shit. It's
Pictographic.
interesting. Yeah.
Pictographic. That's what I was gonna say, but
You can't draw.
Pictographic languages are always.
interesting.
I don't get them, but
Well, that's why
It's a
nobody else can read
pictographic
my notes.
Script. It is a more evocative language.
So you have awful handwriting.
Yeah.
which is why the bard's writing it out.
So I know you can cast a
I'm a
spell where you
doctor.
can read any language. Can you cast a spell where you can speak any language?
Not
I should prepare it.
not speaking it.
Does,
I was like, I can't.
does it work on
I
like,
got tongues.
does it work on hand sign? Since it's not a spoken language.
I mean,
The image in my head of Argus
believe it
just
says
looking
no
at
on
Zem
that.
and be like, I can do anything. I just haven't prepared it.
I can do whatever I want.
I just need to sleep,
He's
and I can solve all of your problems.
Argus's theme song is now "I can do anything better than you."
Yeah. I can do anything more than you.
sort of just come to this realization, so he's super intense about it.
So I have that.
He also doesn't know how intense he's being about it. He's
really
like
works for
short in
written
stature, but he's like, Zemdek, I can do that.
You know what? I have
comprehend.
decently high charisma.
Yeah.
I know. Well, no, he was
It
talking
doesn't
about
matter though. It's just like, the way that you portray him, Zemdek, I can do that. I just
I
haven't
can do
prepared
it.
it yet today.
Damn it.
It's just
I
so,
can totally solve your problem. I just didn't.
so burdensome.
It's a little jarring.
Okay, my dude. All right, chill. Bring it back about 5 notches.
Tongues would be probably a DM decision on that one, but comprehend language, it has to be a written one.
Yeah.
Comprehend languages is
Definitely written.
as far as I understand
Yeah.
it, comprehend languages is any heard or seen language.
It does say it has to be.
Written.
That's stupid.
The spell doesn't
It's
decode
meant to
secret.
read.
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
you
that
can't.
isn't part of a written language.
Can you?
Here's
tongue
what I would
sign
say. I
language?
would say
That
because
seems
we
a
like
little-
to
Right.
because we like to get kind of fucky with
Is that like a cutout?
I mean, yeah, that's. I'm like,
There's no spell that can understand
Hold on.
sign language.
yeah.
Hold on.
That's bullshit. Then
I would absolutely say, technically, tongues just says any language. It doesn't say any spoken language. So I would absolutely allow a visual or interpretive language as far as something that actually would warrant a type
Any
of language.
spoken language here.
I obviously any spoken. Fuck that. I'm doing what I
Like,
want. I
for
would
both
say,
of them, the language says no.
even though the name of the spell is tongues, I'm going to say a couple things here, just because these are I'd like to set these rulings as precedent. So if this is something that you want to put in some of the document that I made as far as precedent rulings for me, this is good to put in there. Let's first start with comprehend languages. Comprehend languages is something I would assume is as yes, we can do it as rules as understood as far as just written languages. However, many of you are to the point where you have been manipulating magic quite a bit. If there's something that you would like to create to enhance upon said spell, to whether we either customize said spell to something to enhance it in a type of way, try to cast it at a higher level and roll for it something, we can talk about it. I'd be far more apt to accept something that you have made up yourself that you have been working at as far as some of your arcanic activities and trainings. And workshoppings, but but the second point then I will make is that tongues, although it is specifically kind of says any spoken language, I am hesitant to do this. So what I will attach a rider to it, understanding that it would be there as far as there are systems of which the only languages are spoken and written languages. So interpretive dance languages, physical languages, sign languages were not actually considered when making these types of rules and spells. So I would like to alter it to the point where tongues could very possibly incorporate those types of things. When it comes to nonverbal languages, I still would like to defer to my judgment when it comes to something of how much you would understand and if you would understand it at all. For example, if this is such an esoteric language and in such of a beautiful dance that tongues would barely help, if at all, then that's something I would like you to accept my ruling about. But I would like to keep it somewhat ambiguous and open and just be deferred to my judgment when it comes to that. Something as far as a sign language version of common, I don't think I would have a problem with tongues being able to decipher and be able to allow you to communicate in such a way. Granted, it still has a time limit, so you have to consider that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Sure,
Yeah.
With comprehend language, you understand the literal meaning of a spoken language. So you can't.
And we're
speak
not
it
doing,
back, but
well,
you
again,
can-
we're not booking stuff
Understand.
because we're doing our
Yeah,
own
yeah.
thing. So
It lets you understand. It doesn't let you speak it back.
Right,
Tongue
exactly.
lets you speak it back.
that's correct. Comprehending is exactly that, comprehending. Tongues is both. I
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Understand and speak. They understand you when you speak back to them.
Comprehend is input. Tongues is input and output.
Okay.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Everybody okay with that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Someone document it so we can put it in that thing. And if somebody wants to put it in that thing, that'd be great for me because I'm not going to remember. I know that I believe that all that document, Google Doc, is available to all of you. So please do so. Thank you.
So it wouldn't overlap with like beast speech, right? Tongues.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Again, I'm gonna defer to my judgment
That's
when
like
it comes
the
to that
whole
type of thing.
point of
But
that
like speech of beast and leaf and communicate with plants and animals,
You have to know it's a language.
It is not a language. What they speak is not a language. It is a collection of nonverbal nonverbal cues, sounds. Body language
Yeah.
and a bunch of other things that then create a type of communique. Like when you're trying to talk to your dog, and you know sometimes it's communicated that when they sneeze while they're playing, it means I may be a little roughhousing, but it's all in good fun. Like those types of things. That's the type of thing that is communicated by speech of beast and leaf. Communicate with plants, communicate with animals, and plants don't have a language. Although you may argue druidic, it is not that. It just allows you to be able to telepathically, as far
Well-
as that's the way we represent it with plants.
Well, but within the same world, there is plant language that you've allowed other
Yeah.
players to understand.
That is very true. That's true because of the race that I've created for the Argent and other type of thing. There is a type of. Did we call it a? Did I give it a name?
You just called it plant speech.
Yeah, plant speech is fine. We can call it Florana if we want to. That's really cool. I like Florana. Let's make it boom canonical. Florana sounds awesome. That's totally fine. I would allow Florana to be the whole of like a square is a rhombus, but a rhombus isn't a square type of thing. Whereas if you speak Florana, you can speak with creatures or speak with plants and you can understand them. But if you casted speak with plants, you wouldn't necessarily be able to understand Florana. You'd just be able to telepathically, through images and ideas, be able to communicate with plants. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everybody good with that? Take a moment to write that down and document that
Sorry
so
for
that
the
we can.
derailment.
No,
that's
it's okay. These are good. These are good questions.
I want to hear about pheromone.
Pheromone stuff.
Pheromone speech.
Yeah, I'm actually was just about to dive into that. So everybody take a moment to write that down so we can put that in the Google document and talk about that. But yes, there is such a thing as a pheromonic speech and spore from fungal speech. That is along the same lines as something that I would call Florana as well. There is a type of... Technically, what's happening with Oncoline is a type of Florana. I don't think you have the perspective to understand it as such.
Sure.
That almost feels like you're naturally be getting this type of Floronic speech.
If
as
you
it-
guys,
as opposed to like regular.
Yeah, it's
common
We may
generic
not have
one.
made this public as of yet, but we're working on it. Please be patient with us. We did do a one-shot. Sorry for the derailment. We did do a one-shot in the Wildlands, which is another continent in the area. During one of the cons that we did an audio only. We're doing our best. Stay with us. of which some characters played some of the homebrew race Argent, and which some mycelial and spore and pheromones and pollen things did take place as far as communicate. A lot of that stuff is still currently, as far as the mechanics of such being able to actually be written in stone, is still somewhat being decided upon and under development. So at the moment, it's just going to be my judgment call as far as that, because this is all homebrew stuff. Pheromonic, I would say, pheromonic and fungal mycelial would fall under the umbrella of Florana. They would be considered different dialects of Florana. If you would understand,
Kind of like Ignan, Aquin,
rapport
Terran.
spores would be considered under, not even as so much that. I think those are actually so much of a different dialect and have evolved so long after years that they become their own language. Meaning, if you understand one of them, you doesn't necessarily you understand the mother tongue, primordial or whatever.
Like Latin versus the Romantic languages, right?
I'm hesitant to say yes to any of these, and I'm not trying to like say, oh no, that's not it. It's just, I'm trying to just kind of push the idea that Florana would allow you to basically communicate basic ideas to any individual who uses pollen, pheromones, or spores as that type of communication, or just a type of telepathic or whatever type. If a plant would be able to speak Florana, you would be able to communicate it in some amalgamation of those types of ways. I want to keep it at that, and I don't want to confuse it and get it too much like that. If there becomes a point where there's a dialect so thick from, I don't know, mushroom people like myconids or whatever, that want to speak to you in that dialect and only that dialect, that will be on a case-by-case basis. And then it will be more like, okay, you speak Florana, which means you get advantage on this roll. Does that make sense? Can we just do
Or
it that
like
way?
really ancient trees or something like that.
I want to
too.
keep it really ambiguous because I want to do it by case, okay?
Yeah.
And I think Florana is also something that very difficult to learn if you don't have the proper anatomy to do so. Does that make sense? Unless you are magically enhanced. Everybody
Like
okay with
all
that?
of us?
No, but
Yeah, like if you did like an alter self and tried to make yourself a little more plant-like
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, I'm just having some fun, yeah.
need some grafting by Micheni.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So all of that,
Grafting, you know.
somebody please have the bullet points of that written down somewhere so we can put that to the. You got it. Okay, great, cool. Anything else? No.
Okay.
What brought us there? Because I now
We
forget.
were 10 minutes.
We were
Me
figuring out
doing
sign language stuff, and he was
ritually
doing
casting
detect magic.
Got it. Cool. We were talking tongues and copper. Wow, we went down a rabbit hole.
Well,
Okay.
10 minutes later.
Hieroglyphs and then
Yeah.
Pictograph.
Pictographs,
pictographs.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Drawing pictographs.
If you guys
to-
are
to
all,
use
I think that
you guys send your
Cole
note?
and Trisheni and Argus get into this like kind of esoteric talk about how language is
is
thing,
language?
and
Yeah.
you guys are
No, that
talking
totally
about this
makes
whole
sense.
thing while Log is just watching Zemdak do a bunch of letters like pretty colors.
Well, I think our deep discussion is actually coming from us arguing about how the symbols are supposed to be drawn on this message that we're
Just,
sending to
no,
them.
that's upside down. It should be, you can't write it on 2-dimensional. You have to etch it 3-dimensionally. And,
Yeah.
Or no, you have to rub stuff into it, or if it doesn't make sense, it's got to smell like it. And you guys are all having this debate about how things should be while you're over there like ding, 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 ding. Cool. So you finish casting your ritual. What is it you would like to look at or try to just perceive?
I mean, the door, most of all.
Okay.
Like, is the door warded?
The door is heavily warded.
Okay.
The door is heavily warded. You sense a massive amounts of abjuration magic from it. Roll an Arcana check with advantage for me, though.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Who you telling, us or yourself?
Both?
He doesn't know yet. He's not done.
He's not-
22.
22. Heavy abjuration magic, but you're familiar with cause and effect as far as like, do this thing, have this gear turn, which makes this gear turn, which makes this gear turn, if this, then that. There doesn't appear to be that attached to this type of thing. Like, there's no like triggering
Just
thing.
shielded.
It's just shielded. It does like in you, as far as you understand magically, nothing's stopping you from opening this door, and nothing appears to be will be triggered magically by opening this door. You have detect magic on, correct?
I mean,
What else are you looking at?
Up, down.
Around.
The fountain.
Can you give me a little bit more than
Like
three-dimensional directions?
if I step up to the door, is there a trap doormat,
No, it's just
or is something gonna fall on me from above the overhang of the door?
you know how in some hotels they have that roundabout so you can pull in, and you can pull in your car and pick up people and then
Yeah.
move out. And they have like an awning that stretches over that.
Yes.
There is an awning. There is a limestone awning that has a tapestry as its top in order to create shade for the entrance.
Yes.
So if you would like to stand before the door and look up, you would see nothing but the tapestry.
Okay.
If you want to back up and take a look at the estate as it's in its whole,
No, it's more just like, can I open this door? Is the door trapped? Is
the
something
door
gonna
looks
fall on
heavily
me?
warded abjurationally.
Yeah.
But does not seem to have, as far as you can tell, a triggering mechanism, meaning touching the door and
I get
opening
that.
it would not.
But like, if I step up to the door, is something gonna fall on my head magically?
Okay,
Or is-
again, there's nothing but the tapestry above you except for the wall that's maybe above the door.
Right.
Hold on. Okay, I get what you're saying. Let me get there.
Is there like a ward on the?
Adam, give me a Sorry.
Is there a cursed doormat?
You don't see anything on
a
the
minute.
ground. There is a nice rug that is a very nice, finely made rug that is below. Your detect magic does not get any sense from the rug. The rest of the has some, just like you had some like rocks that have a bunch of sand covering them of like limestone, kind of that cracked kind of feel of riverbed, but all filled in with sand. You don't sense any magic coming from this as you look down and you look up.
Turn around. I think we can open it.
Oh, great! Because we just finished writing this really pretty note.
Yes.
Don't let me die. And I'm gonna reach for the door.
Okay, you reach for the door. It's a heavy door. You push or pull.
Did he push or pull?
I would have pushed.
Push.
You push. Yeah. It doesn't move. Door's very heavy.
Conk comes up behind me.
There's this very nice, cool,
Thanks, buddy.
low-lit
Ting, ting.
interior that you can see before you. There's some small candles lit about. There's some vague rays of ray tracing sunlight coming through. But it is quite cool in here, and most of the natural. Well, there's no light, there's no sunlight. It's the evening, so it's even cooler in here. But it's
What was the hand sign for share your domicile?
can be somewhat warm as well. Like it's an effect where it's like it's warmer than the outside during the night, but cooler in the inside during the day because it maintains temperature better.
Yeah.
A lot of some of the natural buildings and some of the houses built in New Mexico have like that type of thing.
Oh, like
Down in
peek
Mesa
in.
too.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in the like foyer area?
You see what looks like two people kind of moving about, taking care of errands and stuff that they're doing. They look to be human individual. You do the.
Poorly, yes.
They at first don't notice you, and they turn. They were like, and they just go like, "Yeah, okay, sure, of course."
Okay.
And they continue to go back to what it is
Just
they were
walk
doing.
in.
Yeah, you walk in. You still have your detect magic on.
Mm-hmm.
You see immediately you're surrounded by static.
Guys, it's
The
terrazine.
The entire interior of everything that you can see within the walls looks like the interior perimeter of the
Mm-hmm.
walls is lined with static.
Like Tortese's vault level of static,
Yes.
or just the outer vault static?
Full, can't see static.
Okay.
Ground, walls, ceiling,
Okay.
the interior of which is static. The outside you couldn't see. You didn't see this, but on the inside, it's
Yeah.
all
Must be
static.
really paranoid.
Anything that has a flat surface that is part of the building itself, or like like a wall, a ceiling,
involved the
or a
last time we
floor,
found that?
is static.
Tortesi?
Yeah.
Which is very disorienting because as you have detect magic up,
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell where to really step or where the walls are because there's static everywhere.
Go climb on the con.
Take the goggles off.
Yeah.
You guys remember that wooden hidden vault
Yeah.
crypt we found? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that.
Was there more than one?
So it's a crypt.
No. It's made out of the same stuff.
All right.
I've seen
So
static before.
we'll find a crypt.
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong about this, but I think there's an inkling in the back of my mind when you went to some of the ancient tombs below Karadim, the sarcophagus was also static.
Yeah. And
That had that mummy lord in it. If I,
think a
remember,
little
I
bit
could be
with
totally
the,
wrong, but I believe that's what happened.
I think a little bit with the jail too,
Yeah.
where we got Eleazar back.
But like
Which
heavy,
also dates Terrazine.
Heavy.
heavy,
Even
like that hidden place
okay,
where we
that
found that one guy.
right where we found this, and I pull out the blade.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But like the hidden
Right. Underneath.
heavy,
Yes.
static.
The bag man.
So we're gonna
All right,
find.
so all of
we're
this
gonna
is
find,
It's also to you kind of
found the
realizing
guy
while
in
you're
the
looking at it,
bag
like
man.
that's kind of ingenious because you can't help but admire the fact that somebody looking at this from the exterior, which would be most people, wouldn't know that it's protected, but it's coded on the inside,
But it-
which means only somebody who has gained access would be able to find this out.
It's also another very strong connection that those people are these people.
Right.
suspicion. Yeah, we don't.
I feel like a shield on the door probably tells.
Where have
everyone
you
who
gone?
has been.
Since I have, I'm gonna say that I've
Take 10 minutes.
taken to probably a one of the servants' quarters that I've taken over as my own.
Okay. Like on further up on the floors,
So
or
yeah, probably on the. Well, no, if it's servants, it's probably like behind the kitchen or something like that.
yeah, and it's not like servants is just
Yeah, but I mean
Staff.
the architecture is
Yeah.
similar.
you got it. Yeah.
So yeah, probably there, and of course, I haven't shut any of the doors on my way
Yeah.
there.
Some of them by pure weight and some of the mechanics that they're built
Right,
into
right,
just
I'm like,
kind of do
"Nah."
their own thing and eventually shut. But yeah, you
Yeah.
just kind of trounce through and
Yeah, pretty much.
Places
would-
like this have solid doors on the interior, or more like beaded.
Most
or even
of
just
the
open doors.
so most of the arches and doors that you see within there are absent of actual doors.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
it's okay.
Oh, as I'm going through though, if there's like, a vase on this side table that I walk past, that's going on the ground,
Ah.
and so basically destroying everything on the way there.
Trail of the main.
You got it.
I started you on an anger tantrum. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good to know.
So I think what you guys see is one of the two individuals that you did this to was like, yeah, I'll shake for sure. And the other one is down bent with a dustpan picking up fragments of a vase, I don't
Whatever.
care. that they are currently shuffling into the dustpan that kind of leads around a corner further into the interior. Most of the arches, especially the ones that would be double door wide, it is a sizable estate. Don't have doors. You have yet to be able to see, especially within your current view, if there is a doorway with a door. You have yet to see that. I think the closest thing to a door you have seen are some very nice, fine, what looks like gold thread hemmed tapestries hanging from a larger arch on the far side of the room that you see movement of light through, and you begin to smell something like something cooking, some smell of like onion and root vegetable and other things. You imagine there's probably a kitchen beyond there.
Did I walk through any of those curtains on my way there?
If you want to grab a snack on the way you're going.
I'm just saying those curtains aren't hanging anymore. Then
Slam.
I'm thinking more like
It's entirely up to you. You wouldn't have had to go through there if you didn't want to, but if you wanted to make a scene, you could have.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you see, because the curtains themselves are like built into a rod that is like that is caked into the arch itself. So you see that there's a tear in the curtains, and some of the wood is kind of like cracked and snapped, which means the whole thing has to be chiseled out, put the wood back in there, and then reseal it with like mortar.
I think you went that way.
You see another person come down the hallway and look up and like turn around and go back the way they were walking while writing in a notepad.
Let's really have someone with a mending cantrip in here.
I can fix that for you. want to hand me the pieces?
They might be deaf.
Zemdak, I
Slow
don't
down.
think they talk.
Slow down.
Fix.
We're allowed to do it to them, just not that other guy, right?
I mean,
I gesture for them.
I don't know if
Hand
they'll
me-
freak out like he
hand me
does.
the dustpan. All right. Do you guys really want me to do this? This is going to take me forever to fix all this stuff. But I'll start
would just
casting
say-
mending.
I mean, it's only fitting
Take
that
10
you're
minutes?
actually
Yeah.
fixing stuff
1
for
minute.
once instead of
Yeah,
breaking.
yeah,
it.
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Start casting mending. The pieces are to
I can fix that.
start to reverse themselves and put themselves back together.
I mean, might as well. We can still send a note via Shakar.
It
Yeah.
takes me a minute to fix
Just send Shikar to follow
1 foot
the path of
worth
destruction,
of
it sounds like.
broken.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a vase no bigger than
Right.
this. Yeah.
But I mean, like 1 foot of crack, essentially. And then another minute to fix
I'm
another.
not spending time doing this.
Yeah, I know.
So
Just-
you can fix the vase
Yeah.
in a minute. I wouldn't like
We-
if you mess with me later about this, I will.
No, no. That's
But
fine.
yes, go.
Send Shakar off with the note. I tell him, look super cute. Make your eyes super big and be super fluffy. Yeah, exactly like that. All right, and send this little note to our friend Meckel, who we just met. Okay? You know who? Remember Meckel, the one that was playing the flute? You'll find him. You'll know. Try to send like a mental image of Meckel to him as well,
Okay,
just so.
you do.
Hey, Law, can I stand on your shoulders? Over there by that
It's
tapestry.
gonna look.
I'm
really
kind of
weird.
exhausted right
You're
now.
you're gonna be floating a good 6 inches.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. I just have to get up there, and I am not tall enough.
Yeah, it's up to you.
You finish fixing the vase, and they're like, they hand it to you, and they grab your arm,
Yeah.
and they pull you into the kitchen. You see Zemdak just being dragged by this dwarven woman. Just
Oh, right, I was supposed to smack him.
Why?
he's being dragged into the kitchen. You see him vanish behind the curtain. You
go
end up in this
stick with
very, very hot kitchen. There's a bunch of fires and coals and moving about. You see them go over to a big pot, grab a big wooden spoon, open the pot, go in there.
Eat.
You stand there for a moment. They grab your cheeks and they
Like force feed me.
yeah.
They're gonna get you
Yeah,
with their
nothing
mushrooms
like
too.
it's not aggressive. It's just like eat this.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, okay. It's very
Thank you.
Reminds
I
you of
need to
home.
pay
Yeah.
you.
yeah. Your mom yeah, and they're like, and they. It's
Force feed me.
it tastes like very well seasoned tubers and spices, and this type of soup with what appears to be like maybe a rutabaga, some rutabaga chunks and other types of things. in it.
So foreign to me.
Yeah, well, not too foreign. I mean, it is root vegetables.
Right. I noticed the potatoes, but like the rest of the flavors are.
Yeah,
like, oh,
there's like I would say there's some hints of fruit flavoring within it,
Okay.
which is probably a little bit more foreign due to the more warmer, temperate climate. Not temperate, but more with the warmer climate.
The first time I saw fruit was in Sasso.
Yeah. So it's like a bitter and then aftertaste of sweet fruit in this. It's like a savory and bitter. It's different, something you've never tasted
Root
before. They're
vegetables
like-
with flavors I've never tasted
yeah,
before.
yeah, and they're like,
Yep.
"Ugh."
Oh.
They keep giving you more. And you're like, it's full.
Yeah.
Grab your mouth again, and they give you some more. You guys following him into the?
Yeah.
Do you just say like, I need a box?
Help me.
Yeah.
She's trying to drown me in food.
You see, like Zemdak, like on his knees, like help me.
This is too funny. No, it's good.
I told you to hit me if I talked. I talked and you didn't hit me.
You need to write this shit down again, just next time.
She looks like she's proud of her work. Like, yeah, fall asleep. Fall asleep.
Fix.
You're like stuffed. Like she's just keeping. She's very cartoon. Like, "Ooh, eat this. You're getting quite stuffed very, very quickly.
We try to maybe stop.
At the point she's just like, okay, I'm happy with my work. Like you did a good. Like you're. I get the sense that you're gonna get the itis soon and you're gonna fall asleep, and that's my job.
Can we get a to-go clay vessel? You know, put the little in the box. I'm fine with this. I mean, this is great.
It is quite delicious. It's very reminiscent of home. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a big language barrier here, so a lot of stuff going on.
Conk's just like baby carrying.
Yeah, he
me.
barely carries you. Eventually, you can get to the point where they give you a small crucible of some of this food. Like it's kind of like a clay bowl. They just go like, oh, okay, go ahead, take it. As they continue what it is they were doing and chop some more vegetables and whatsoever. You can see there is quite the trail throughout here. There's some broken tapestry or ripped tapestries, some tables that have like their legs kicked out from under them, and all the things that have been on these like end tables have fallen over. If you end up following this, which I assume you do,
I'm gonna slowly start fixing the things.
Sure. So you're gonna
along
stay
the
behind?
trail. Yeah.
okay. So the rest of you continue to move on as he stays behind and works on things. You guys continue on and follow this. Eventually, you are led by. You see only a handful of actual closed doors along the way, and half of those aren't fully closed either. They're ajar, and I feel a draft coming within them. There is a decent amount of candlelight and other forms of light other than sunlight, because it is still night here. As you're moving through these hallways, you make your way upstairs as you follow this route. It looks like there was a point at which there was a ledger open on a table that was meant to be like, hey, sign here if you're a guest and tell you how your stay was. And like a page or a couple pages were torn out from it and then torn into a bunch of pieces of confetti and like left a trail throughout what's going on. Like it's almost like I'm throwing a tantrum, but I want you to follow me. And I want you to fix it because I need you to be the one that initiates things so that I have my ego intact. We all know that feeling. So you eventually come to a door that is fully closed where the trail ends. It does look like it has brass fittings and is banded but by no means to the effect of the front doors.
Minute per broken item. I am slowly.
Yeah, you're
Following the
probably
trail.
not going to be involved in this interaction.
Not to mention you're probably
Along the
pretty
way.
full anyway.
Yeah, it's like after Thanksgiving dinner, sitting on the couch, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you get to something, you're like, and then you sit down and you do banding.
But along the way, I'm also keeping my eyes out for a disassembled automaton of some sort.
As so far, you haven't seen.
Right, just in case I would come across it. Please let me know.
So you're at this door. What are you guys doing?
Well, where did fucking Cole go? We should probably wait for Key. He's the one who like fucked up, right?
Probably, or maybe Chakar.
We can just knock,
Yeah,
see if he'll answer it.
yeah, might as well.
If he doesn't, we'll open the door.
All right,
Hey, Meckle, you in
Mako,
there?
do you want to?
Oh, so they're at the right door. I'm just making sure.
It depends on how obvious you made your trail.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't trying to hide, so.
Yeah, so probably, yeah.
Okay. I knock back.
It's perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, do you want to come out and I can read you one of the stories, or Cole can read you one of the stories? It's in their
Did-
books.
Do you like puppies?
Don't think you've ever seen a dog.
Yeah. I was like, did he put his soul back in?
His soul back in?
That was just my thoughts.
Is it back?
Yeah, I won't do that again. I'm so sorry. Wasn't trying to upset you. Just allows me to talk while I play.
But you're okay?
I'm fine, yeah. I mean, I'm a little messed up, but I'm doing better now.
He knocks again. I'll gingerly open up the door, and it's very apparent that Meckel has changed outfits. You see one that looks like it's rather soiled, like behind him, and you kind of get a smell of like a very enclosed space with like lots of sweat and everything. Like you don't get the doesn't appear to have a window in here, so the flow isn't there.
Yeah.
And Meckel sort of like waits for you guys to kind of back up a little bit so he can shut the door, obviously trying not to let you look in.
Zemdak,
Right.
roll a perception check for me while he has the door cracked.
Oh, I'm not there.
No, he's in the back.
Right.
Right.
He's got good perception, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so does Argus.
And
I'm
Argus
trying to
does
figure
too.
out who would
Would
want
know.
to. Who is the snoopiest?
That's an interesting question.
I mean,
Yeah.
I need everything for
Log
my
is
book.
Right,
Snoopy.
because you want to
Mister
see what's
wants to
behind
write it all
closed doors.
down.
Cole, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Yeah.
What am I judging?
I like closed doors.
It's like
They-
literally in your.
backstory, yeah.
No, you're not.
It's in your mission statement.
So I got a nat 20.
Can I describe my room?
So
You may. I will just be adding one thing to it.
so
Okay.
a grand total of 29.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead, and then I'll add something to it.
So you look in, and you see that past Meckel, and at one time, so the room itself looks like it's like the adobe or the same sort of like stone as the rest of the house has been, except there are hairline fractures and cracks along all of the walls on the ceiling. At one point, it looks like there was a window in here, but it's been fitted over with some sort of metallic plate.
Okay.
And that has fractures in it also. And there's just it looks like the only other thing in the room, outside of the soiled clothing that you see, is what looks like a low reed bed of some sort with like a pillow. And that's pretty much it. But the floor also has the spider cracks, and then whatever else you want to add.
So, the soiled clothes that you had seen are actually hanging upon a mannequin of sorts.
Okay.
That is kind of old and decrepit as part of the rest of it that's here. Parts of it are wood and parts of it are metal. But then you kind of glance at it before and you're like, why does it look familiar? And it's because the mannequin looks like it's Zytect.
Okay.
That's where we're going to take our break. And we'll be back in a little bit, guys. Thanks for staying with us. And as always, stay safe out there. Bye.